The story's setting is established on a planet hundreds of millions of light years from Earth, where a nation called Country A is suffering from a low population rate. To combat this, the government has mandated that all citizens must have a marriage certificate to graduate from college or find work. Those without a partner are assigned one by the state. Divorce is possible, but it comes with a hefty tax of $10 million. In front of a large government building labeled Marriage Office, a young woman with long, dark purple hair named Xinguan stands in a white dress. She internally reflects on her situation. At 22 years old, having just graduated college, she is unfortunately single and has no choice but to let the state find her a partner. Her internal monologue turns to bitterness as she remembers being dumped by her ex-boyfriend just before graduation, which led to this predicament. Inside the sterile office, an official instructs her to go to a computer. The machine, she is told, will randomly select 10 numbers, each representing a potential partner, and she must choose one. A holographic interface appears before her, showing only a series of numbers with no accompanying data, leaving her confused about how to choose. An official warns her that if she does not make a selection within 30 seconds, the system will automatically choose for her, and she shouldn't regret it later. As the system counts down, Xinguan panics and reaches out, but she is too late. The system makes a selection for her, displaying a congratulatory message that she has been matched with partner number 1,314,521. She is instructed to go to the service desk to receive her partner's identity information. Annoyed, Xinguan decides to just take the certificate to get her diploma, find a job to make money, and then eventually pay the divorce tax to choose a new partner herself. At the service desk, an official hands her a file containing her partner's information, explaining that the man has been notified and that they must legally live together for 1 year, subject to random visits from the marriage office. Looking at the photo and name on the document, Xinguan finds it looks familiar. Her eyes widen in shock as she recognizes him as the man from a magazine cover, the super-rich individual known as the most desirable bachelor in all of Country A. She recalls seeing him in an interview where he declared that anyone partnered with him should be prepared to pay the divorce tax themselves. Flustered, she asks the official if she can be matched with someone else, but is told it is absolutely impossible. The official chides her for being picky, suggesting her high standards are why she is still single. Xinguan protests, explaining her concern is that they share the same surname, Yi, and she worries they might be related. The official dismisses her fears, assuring her the system performs thorough data analysis. When Xinguan offers to pay the divorce tax immediately, the official warns her that such an action could disrupt the system and lead to severe consequences, including jail time. Defeated, she stares at the names, Junqing and Xinguan, on the official document. Outside, a luxury car pulls up to the marriage office, and inside, a man is informed by his driver that they have arrived. The man is Junqing, and his assistant is apologizing profusely for forgetting to pay his singles tax, which resulted in his number being entered into the marriage lottery. The assistant reassures him that a lawyer, Mr. Zai, has been sent to handle the situation, and that the woman will surely back out of the marriage. Junqing, however, explains that with his older brother in the midst of presidential election, he cannot afford the political scandal that would erupt if he rejected a state-mandated match. Just as his assistant claims the matter is still private, a news alert flashes on a phone, announcing that Junqing, a prominent anti-marriage figure, has been matched by the state. Annoyed by the leak, Junqing calmly asks to see all the information on his assigned partner. The assistant hands him a tablet displaying a photo of Xinguan, and Junqing's expression becomes intense as he looks at her face. Meanwhile, in a reception room, Xinguan is met by Mr. Yi's lawyer, Zai. The lawyer states he will take full responsibility, explaining that although Mr. Yi is currently single, he is soon to be engaged to Miss Xia Yanyan. He elaborates that Miss Xia is the world's last mermaid and a national treasure, a woman so desirable that even the top-ranked men in the country would want to marry her. Lawyer Zai offers Xinguan $1 million in compensation if she voluntarily refuses the match. She replies that money isn't the issue, which prompts the lawyer to mock her, questioning if a mere fisherman's daughter thinks she can compete with Miss Xia's beauty. Xinguan internally scoffs, recalling her own hidden identity as a mermaid, one who was born solely to be a medical donor for Xia Yanyan's chronic illness before being abandoned in the ocean as a child. The lawyer's threats escalate as he brings up her father's diabetes, reminding her that Miss Xia controls the nation's healthcare system and could easily make her father's life difficult if angered. Enraged, Xinguan declares that she won't be intimidated. Suddenly, a man's hand firmly grasps her arm. It is Junqing himself, He coldly introduces himself and then grabs her, causing her to cry out in pain. He angrily accuses her of having the nerve to choose him. Xinguan retorts that it was the country's system that matched them, making her a victim in the situation as well, and that she never expected to be matched with him. He asks how to resolve the issue, and she suggests that if he wants a divorce, he should pay the fee because she is too broke. With a challenging look, he calls his assistant to bring a government worker, announcing that he accepts the match. His staff is stunned by his decision. Presented with the marriage acceptance consent form, Junqing taunts her, asking if she is too scared to sign. Provoked, Xinguan signs the document without hesitation. His assistant pleads with him to reconsider, reminding him of his impending marriage to Miss Zia, but Junqing coolly replies that he has no intention of being an animal in a zoo. He then takes the pen and signs the form himself. An official pronounces them a nationally recognized couple and hands them their matching certificates, informing them they must now live together for a year. After being briefed on the rules, which include a 10 million yen fine for termination after 1 year, the official tells Junqing he can take his new wife home. As rain begins to fall, he drives her to her school. In the car, he receives a call from his older brother, Shiding, who asks if he accepted the match to protect his presidential campaign. Junqing confirms that his brother's election is more important than his own optional marriage plans with Miss Zia. His brother then asks if he fell in love with Xinguan at first sight, but Junqing scoffs at the idea. His assistant, who is driving, remarks that the match seems imperfect, describing Xinguan as having nothing but looks and even having been dumped by a previous boyfriend. The detail about her being dumped seems to intrigue Junqing, who recalls her defiant words. Realizing she is just an ordinary university student, he steps out of the car into the pouring rain. When his assistant asks where he is going, he simply states that he is going to pick someone up. Xinguan leaves the mansion, muttering that Junqing is a narrow-minded and erratic person she can't understand. She arrives back at her university dormitory as a thunderstorm rages outside, noting how hard it's raining. Deciding to browse Weibo, she comes across a popular post from a user named Mermaid, who is showing off a mark on her heel and bragging about how her partner, Junqing, is fond of her feet. Xinguan panics, worrying that Junqing will think she made the post and that it will negatively affect his relationship with a woman named Zia Yan. Feeling the need to clear up the misunderstanding, she decides to go back, though she worries about her feet getting wet, an event which would cause them to transform into a fishtail. Back at the mansion, she walks down a long hall but finds Junqing is not in his room. Suddenly, her ex-boyfriend, Chen, appears under an umbrella, angrily asking if she was the one who went on the school forum to scold his girlfriend, Ying, and call her a third person. At that moment, Junqing stumbles out of a room looking distressed, and Xinguan rushes to see if he's all right. Her ex-boyfriend scoffs at her, calling her pitiful and continuing his accusations, but Junqing warns him not to touch her and demands to know who let him in. Chen mocks Xinguan, claiming he broke up with her because she was too weak, always afraid to go out in the rain and needing him to carry her. He challenges her to step out onto the porch to prove she isn't afraid. She shoves him away, causing a glass he was holding to fly from his hand and shatter on the floor. He accuses her of being too much and warns her not to bully Ying just because he lied to her. Junqing furiously tells Chen to get lost. After he leaves, Junqing stands alone, thinking he may have lost her again, while outside, Xinguan cries in the rain. Junqing then appears before her, telling her to stop trying to be strong if she isn't comfortable. He grabs her hand and pulls her along as she asks what he is doing. He tells her to stop crying before kicking open a door and lifting her into his arms, remarking that her ex-boyfriend was right about her being weak and needing to be carried in the rain. Inside a room, he slumps to the floor in distress while she watches from the doorway, and he thinks to himself that he can't harm his little mermaid again. He approaches her and tells her to sit down and dry her tears, warning her that every tear she sheds is proof she cheated in their marriage and that he could sue her. She struggles, telling him she doesn't need him to carry her, but he replies that the government wants him to carry her and he can't refuse. As he carries her, she finds herself thinking he looks quite handsome despite his grumpy personality. She asks him why he changed his mind about declining their pairing, and he explains that his brother is running for president, and he cannot allow any opponents to grasp a weakness like their broken engagement. He then reassures her that they can cancel the pairing in 1 year without any penalty, after which she can go away. Xinguan is inwardly thrilled at the idea of being free in a year without having to pay a fine. She promises him that she will leave immediately when the deadline is due and will not bother him with anything. He thinks bitterly that even with a chance to start over, all she wants is to leave him. When she asks what he wants her to do, He tells her to stay as far away from him as possible and not to affect his life. Later, they arrive by helicopter at a lavish estate on a central island, where they are greeted by a line of staff. Junqing informs her that she will live there before abruptly leaving for work. The housekeeper explains that as a marriage partner, she can theoretically go anywhere on campus, except for the mermaid pool, which he clarifies was personally designed by young Master Jin for Xia Yan and is off-limits to others. Half a month later, Xinguan feels aimless after learning she was passed over for a reporter job at Coco TV station in favor of Lu Ying, who had a lower score. Frustrated, she decides to call in a favor from Han Chengbei, a powerful figure in the media industry whose life she saved the previous month. She messages him asking for a letter of recommendation to the TV station. Later, after taking a shower, she feels an unbearable itch on her legs and sees red spots appearing, realizing her mermaid nature is flaring up from having suppressed her fishtail for too long. She knows she must find water to swim in but hesitates to use the forbidden mermaid pool. The worsening itch forces her hand, and she heads for the pool, telling herself she can persevere. She enters the magnificent, glowing blue pool area and dives in, her legs transforming into a luminous fishtail as she swims with relief. While swimming, she admires a large mermaid sculpture on the ceiling, thinking that Junqing must really like Xia Yan to have created such a brilliant place for her. Her swim is interrupted when a blond man stumbles into the pool area, drunkenly shouting that he has seen a mermaid. He makes a call, excitedly telling someone named Jai Kai-shu about the beautiful mermaid, when Junqing appears in a bathrobe and asks what he's doing there in the middle of the night. Junqing confronts his friend, who insists there is a mermaid in the pool even prettier than Xia Yan. Junqing dismisses his claims as drunken nonsense, but the friend drags him over to look. The pool is now empty, causing the friend to wonder if he imagined it all. Junqing tells him to go back to sleep and they leave. Hiding in the water, Xinguan feels a wave of relief, glad that her legs are no longer itchy as she plans to sneak back to her room. The next morning, a knock on the door wakes her. She opens it to find a shirtless Junqing standing there. Shocked, she demands to know what he is doing in her room so early in the morning. He coolly asks if this is her room. She looks up at the ceiling and sees the familiar mermaid sculpture, realizing with dawning horror that she isn't in her own room but in his. She screams internally, mortified that she slept in the wrong room. Xinguan wakes up in a luxurious bed, lamenting what a shame it all is before she catches a familiar scent on the pillow. She sits up in shock, screaming in frustration as she wonders why she remembers him in such an intimate way. She walks down a grand staircase, assuming Junqing has already left for work and thinking about how starving she is. Downstairs, Jai Kai-shu tells Junqing that he saw the mermaid the previous night and even found fish scales near the pool. Overhearing this from the doorway, Xinguan panics, realizing the red mark on her heel must be from a lost scale, and she resolves that no one can find out it belongs to her. She pushes the door open and cheerfully wishes everyone a good morning, then asks Junqing why he isn't at work yet. Two other young men whisper that she doesn't seem worthy of him, and she mentally notes that she can hear every word. Jai Kai-shu, the enthusiastic adopted son, ushers her to sit next to Jin, announcing that staff from the marriage department are about to visit. Surprised, Xinguan sits down, thinking about how he previously told her to stay far away from him. Half an hour later, two officials arrive, explaining they are just there for a routine investigation into their daily life as a married couple. Deciding she needs to take control of the situation, Xinguan gets an idea. She sweetly offers Junqing a piece of cake, cooing for her honey to open his mouth. When he hesitates, she puts on a pleading, teary-eyed expression, and he reluctantly takes the bite. The officials smile, commenting that their feelings for each other seem genuinely good. The female official then asks if she has been comfortable living there, to which Xinguan enthusiastically replies that Junqing has been very thoughtful, all while silently urging him to play along. The official then bluntly asks if they have recently considered contributing to population growth. Flustered, Xinguan blurts out that they have, and that she even slept in his room the night before. The official asks for proof. Junqing smirks, asking his honey if this is the kind of thing they should be telling people, privately wondering how she'll get out of this. After a moment, she confidently says yes. The officials explain that they are required by law to ask for some evidence for their report. Declaring that proof is no problem, Xinguan lifts her foot onto the table to reveal a red mark on her heel, asking if a hickey is considered proof. One official looks on, wondering what a strange hobby this is, while Junqing stares in shock, questioning if he actually left such a mark. Xinguan points defiantly, insisting it's proof he left a hickey on her body last night. To verify her claim, the male official asks Mr. Yi to answer one question, the exact location of a long scar on her back. Without missing a beat, Yi Junjin states that it is 3 inches to the left of her spine. Yi Xinguang is stunned, wondering how he could possibly know that. He pulls her into his arms and asks the officials if they have any more questions, prompting them to quickly take their leave. Once they are alone, he turns to her and demands she explain the red spot on her heel. She defensively replies that she had run out of ideas for proof and asks why he and the others didn't help. He tells her she could have just said there was no proof. Jai Kai-shu adds that the officials can't actually do anything without proof and can only use words to pressure people. Frustrated, she asks why they didn't tell her that earlier, and Yi Junjin retorts that she was too quick to answer. She then remembers his knowledge of her scar and accuses him of invading her privacy, which he smugly confirms he did by investigating her. Giving up, she pulls out her phone, deciding work is more reliable and wondering why Han Chengbei hasn't replied to her messages. Jai Kai-shu offers to help her find a job, and she says she wants one with good pay and good treatment. She complains that she nearly got a job at Coco TV, but her spot was stolen by someone with connections. Yi Junjin internally notes that she doesn't know he owns the company. He coldly dismisses Jai Kai-shu, who follows him outside and promises he'll ensure she gets the job. Yi Junjin instructs him to get it done, but not to tell her it was him, reasoning that it's impossible for her to like him anyway. Sometime later, Yi Xinguang arrives at her new office, determined to make a fresh start. She introduces herself to her new colleagues and finds her desk, only to discover her neighbor is her rival, Lu Yingying. Lu Yingying immediately starts taunting her, asking if it's true she went to the marriage department on the same day she and Yin Chen got their diploma. She adds that it's a pity Yi Xinguang couldn't see Yin Chen putting a ring on her finger. Annoyed, Yi Xinguang says she needs to tend to a wound on her leg. Just then, a coworker shouts for everyone to look at Weibo, where a rumor is spreading that Yi Junjing's mermaid partner is a victim of domestic violence. A post shows a picture of an injured heel, speculating it was leaked by the marriage department. Yi Xinguang is horrified, wondering what this means. The office editor scolds everyone, saying they can't report unverified rumors just for views, while others note the mermaid's identity is confidential. Someone suggests they could try to find her by looking for a woman with an injured heel. Yi Xinguang subtly hides her foot, terrified of being exposed and facing Yi Junjing's wrath. She resolves to hide before anyone discovers her secret, but it's too late. Lu Yingying loudly points out that Xinguang's heel is hurt. She connects the dots, mentioning the coincidence of her visit to the marriage department on the same day as Yi Junjing, and accuses her of being the mermaid. Another colleague demands she show them her heel to compare with the photo. Just as she's cornered, her phone rings and she uses it as an excuse to escape. Lu Yingying smirks, confident that the truth is out. The call is from Fu Zuo, who tells her he has created a VIP Weibo account for her and that she needs to log on to clarify that the Jing family is not violent. He also tells her to mention the family often in her future posts. Yi Xinguang hesitates, knowing she has to clear things up but wary of being too obedient. Seeing an opportunity, she devises a plan to deal with Lu Yingying. She slams the office door open and tearfully announces that she is the mermaid. She claims she couldn't take it anymore and that Yi Junjing had called her, angry that she had ruined his image. Her colleagues rush to comfort her, calling her brave. But as Lu Yingying gloats, another coworker interrupts, showing them a new Weibo post from the mermaid account. The post dismisses the rumors, stating the mark on her heel is a kiss mark, and playfully boasts that her Junjing is just too fond of her feet. Stunned, Lu Yingying turns to Yi Xinguang, who cheerfully declares that of course she isn't the mermaid. Yi Xinguang then professionally advises her boss that they should wait for official confirmation before jumping to conclusions, defending the truth over cheap viewership. The boss agrees, and Lu Yingying is left speechless. Later, Yi Xinguang is pleased with how she handled the situation when her phone buzzes again. She's shocked to see that her Weibo post was shared by the presidential candidate Yi Shiting, Yi Junjing's brother, with the caption, "Sister-in-law, don't be angry." Meanwhile, Fu Zuo is annoyed that young Master Ting is sharing Weibo posts when Yi Junjing appears and takes his phone. He sees the post and almost imperceptibly taps the like button. At that moment, he imagines her screaming that she would never like him, which makes him wonder why he is feeling so excited. In a flashback, Fu Zuo explains he only made the account to protect young Master Ting's election chances. Enraged by her post and his own feelings, Yi Junjing orders Fu Zuo to have the housekeeper move Yi Xinguang out of the main house, declaring he never wants to see her face again. Later that night, the housekeeper informs a shocked Xinguan that she must move, explaining that her social media post angered Mr. Jing. As she stands outside with her luggage, Jing arrives home. She confronts him, reminding him of their one-year contract, but he walks past her into the house without a word, clutching his chest in silent pain. The butler dismisses her concern, suggesting Jing simply drank too much alcohol and needs to sleep it off, but Xinguang retorts, asking if he thinks she's blind. She insists that Jing is genuinely sick and that she can't help but worry. When the butler remains unconvinced, she tells him that if he doesn't believe her, he can send people to follow her to check. She turns to the other staff, telling them to follow her, but they all refuse. The butler warns her that young Master Jing has an old illness and has given strict orders that anyone who worries about it will be dealt with. He advises that if she keeps interfering, no one will be able to help her. She asks him one last time if he is truly determined not to take Jing to the hospital, and the staff's continued silence serves as their answer. Frustrated by their inaction, Xinguang declares that she will take care of it herself. She runs into the mansion and up to his room, pushing open the doors to find him chained to a large chair, looking weak and in pain. She wonders what he's doing, mockingly asking if he's playing cosplay before deciding to forget it and find the key first, guessing it might be on the bookshelf. As she searches through the books, Jing weakly coughs and calls out her name. He murmurs that his illness must be serious this time for him to be having hallucinations. Just then, she finds a small, ornate key and exclaims that she's found it. He looks up, realizing she is in an illusion. As she approaches, wondering if this is the key to the chains, he warns her not to touch him, claiming the consequences will be terrible. She asks how scary it could be, stating that as a kind person, she can't just ignore someone who is dying. He desperately yells for her to stop. She ignores him and uses the key to unlock the heavy chains binding him. Once freed, he collapses forward. She rushes to his side, trying to help him up, but he suddenly grabs her hand and shoves her away, screaming at her not to touch him. He lunges, pinning her to the floor. She struggles, asking what he is doing and telling him to let her go. He stares down at her with glowing red eyes, his fangs slightly extended, and whispers that he feels extremely uncomfortable. He leans in close to her neck as she calls his name in alarm, telling her to help him. His eyes are filled with a strange hunger as he tells her he wants fresh blood. He bites her neck, causing her to cry out in pain. The cry seems to snap him out of his trance, and he pulls back, his eyes returning to normal. He apologizes, promising he won't hurt her again. She gently touches his face as he falls into her arms, and she tells him to sleep, assuring him she is there. The next morning, she wakes up beside him in bed, admiring how tender he looks when he's asleep, a rare sight. Deciding not to waste the opportunity, she takes a photo of him and posts it to her mermaid fan account, where it quickly gathers comments about how gentle he has become. He begins to stir and asks if he bit her last night. She quickly hides her phone, denying it and claiming she was just talking nonsense. He tells her not to make such jokes in the future, just as his assistant, Fu Zuo, enters the room. She starts to explain that Jing was sick, but Fu Zuo is simply shocked to see them together. Fu Zuo rushes to check on Mr. Jing, who swats his hand away and tells him to be quiet. As Fu Zuo whispers to his boss, asking how she knew he was sick, Xinguang tries to sneak away. Jing grabs her arm, demanding to know who let her into his room. She retorts that she came by herself because he was sick and no one was helping him, asking if that was so wrong. He calls her an ungrateful person, telling her she has no idea how dangerous it was for her to approach him last night, and that she should stay away from him for her own safety. He then orders Fu Zuo to check the security cameras and fire every staff member who saw her enter without stopping her. That night, she is working as a reporter, reflecting on her argument with him earlier and the fact she now has to interview his brother. Suddenly, the crowd of reporters stirs as the guests of honor arrive, and she is stunned to see Jing is there as well. He sees her in the crowd, wondering why she is there to interview his brother. A reporter asks Jing why, as a known celibate, he accepted the engagement to the mermaid. He replies cryptically that if the country saw them as the best couple, he had no reason to refuse. He flashes back to a memory of a wounded girl begging him to let her die and to live his own life well, a memory that causes him pain as he thinks about how he lost her. His brother Ting chimes in, joking that, of course, the mermaid was too attractive for his brother to resist. Xinguang is taken aback that her idol, Ting, is defending her. Another reporter asks if this means Jing has developed feelings for her. Silently, she begs him not to embarrass her, but he looks directly at the cameras and states coldly that she is tasteless. She is furious, thinking about how she stayed up all night to take care of him, only to be repaid with such an insult. The next day at the TV station, A colleague shows her a viral Weibo post from an account claiming to be a fired maid from the Yi family. The post includes the picture she took of Junqing sleeping, accusing the mermaid of sneaking into his room while he was drunk and causing the staff to be fired. The comments section is filled with hate, calling the mermaid a greedy liar and a psycho. Her team leader approaches, asking if it's true that Junqing showed aversion to the mermaid at the interview. When she says she can't be sure, her leader orders her to go interview Junqing and find out the truth, stating it's an order from the top executives. She arrives at an exclusive poolside club to find him but is blocked by security for not having a membership card. As she despairs, a man named Han Chengbei appears, asking if his friends are not allowed to enter either. The security guards immediately recognize Han Chengbei, the young master of the media, and profusely apologize, letting them both in. He shushes her when she recognizes him as the person who once came to her seeking help to change his destiny. She recalls him promising her half his fortune if she helped him become the Han family heir, a goal he has since achieved. He tells her he investigated her when he first sought her help, which is how he knew who she was. When she asks for his help interviewing the difficult Junqing, he readily agrees, saying he can definitely help her this time. He grabs her hand and pulls her along, bursting into a private VIP area where Junqing is relaxing. Han Chengbei boldly announces that his woman wants an interview. Junqing looks up, his expression hardening as he sees Xinguan with Han Chengbei, questioning who his woman is. Han Chengbei proudly declares that Xinguan is the one in his heart, telling Mr. Jin to show some respect. Xinguan panics, realizing this is not helping her situation at all, as she sees Junqing's simmering rage. Junqing lets out a cold, unsettling smile. He tells her not to take her time, and she quickly pushes Han Chengbei away, trying to laugh it off and claiming they have no relationship. Han Chengbei whispers that this was the only way to get his attention. She explains to Junqing that she was sent by the TV station, and Han was just trying to help, silently pleading that he believes she isn't betraying him. Junqing asks if she's protecting Han. He then states he will accept the interview, but only on the condition that Han Chengbei leaves immediately. Despite feeling bad since Han did help her get inside, she quickly agrees. Han Chengbei leaves after cheekily telling her to come watch him swim later, earning another wave of killing intent from Junqing. Once they are alone, Junqing asks if Han is truly an unrelated person. She quickly reassures him, swearing her loyalty and flattering him by saying no one could compare to him in background, status, or looks. The assistant informs Junqing that the mermaid photo has gone viral on social media, and Xinguan is shocked to see him smiling subtly to himself. He quickly coughs and tells the assistant not to take her time, then turns to Xinguan, asking if she has anything to say as an insider. He dismisses the matter as meaningless to her internal frustration, as she silently wishes he would argue more strongly against the online comments calling her a vain social climber unworthy of him. His demeanor suddenly shifts as he coolly asks who dares to say she adores vanity, asserting that he wouldn't let just any woman take pictures with him, and that any photos posted online had his full consent. He continues his defense, stating that whether she deserves him or not is irrelevant, as the government chose them as the best fit, meaning no one suits him better than her. Leaning closer, he declares that since life has chosen her for him, he will absolutely never change his mind. Xinguang's heart thumps wildly as she wonders if he's lying, his expression intensely serious. However, her internal monologue scolds her for having illusions of love, convinced it's just an excuse for him to save face in public. The interview concludes, and she thanks him for his cooperation. Feeling distracted, when he asks where she's going, she says she's going to find Han Chengbei, but Junqing stops her, saying he'll go with her to show everyone she's the most beautiful mermaid. Confused about why he'd want to go swimming with her, she follows him to the pool area where she spots Han Chengbei. She calls out to him, saying the interview is done, and agrees to take some pictures for him. As she raises her phone, she's shocked to see a shirtless Junqing standing behind Han Chengbei. She finds Junqing's physique delicious and starts snapping photos, ignoring Han Chengbei's question about whether she's finished. Junqing appears before her, coldly asking for Xinguan, who nervously says she has to get back to work. He sternly tells her to delete the pictures she just took, warning that his patience has a limit. She pleads with him, promising she'll keep the quality photos to herself and never spread them. He grabs her phone, threatening that the interview they just did won't be valid if she doesn't delete them immediately. Just then, Xia Yan arrives, calling out to Junqing and remarking on the coincidence of meeting him while looking for her brother. Xinguan recognizes Xia Yan, the national treasure mermaid, and is then shocked to see her own long-lost brother, Zia Zhao Yi, standing beside her. Memories flood her mind of how her family mistreated her, with only her brother showing her kindness and promising to always be by her side before he went abroad, and she was thrown into the sea. Back in the present, she looks at her brother, wondering if he recognizes her, but he simply tells his sister not to bother the journalist with her work. Crushed that her brother no longer seems to care for her, she prepares to leave, but Yi Yun-jin stops her, again demanding she delete the pictures. Zia Yan chimes in, patronizingly lecturing Yi Xinguan about privacy for public figures. Internally, Yi Xinguan seethes, thinking Zia Yan is a green tea bitch, and Yi Yun-jin has terrible taste in women. Yi Yun-jin snatches the phone to see who she was photographing and is stunned to see the gallery is filled only with pictures of him. He looks up, flustered, realizing he didn't want her to delete his pictures, but it's too late. She shows him the deleted screen and asks if she can go now, and he lets her leave, speechless. Zia Yan watches Yi Xinguan walk away with a dark, menacing glare, vowing that the mermaid girl will pay for daring to marry Yi Jun-jin. Feeling utterly dejected that her brother didn't recognize her, and Yi Jun-jin sided with Zia Yan, Yi Xinguan walks away in the rain, crying because she feels he doesn't deserve her tears. She wonders if this is a sign she shouldn't have married him, and as she cries, her tears form a precious treasure, the medicine of regret. The tear solidifies into a glowing pill that can turn back time, and she contemplates swallowing it to undo her meeting with Yi Yun-jin. Her phone rings. It's her adoptive father asking if she has enough money. She forces a cheerful tone, lying that she's doing well at work and not to worry, unable to tell him she's being bullied. Her father tells her that he and her mother will always be her solid support and will help her vent her anger if she's being treated badly, which only makes her cry more as she quickly ends the call. As she holds the regret pill, considering if its appearance is a sign, Han Chengbei suddenly appears behind her, startling her with a loud shout. She drops the pill in shock, yelling at him for scaring her to death. He notices she was crying and sees the regret pill, realizing she was about to take it. In a panic, he grabs her hand, pleading with her not to erase her memories of him, crying that he wants to be the man she remembers forever. She tries to pull away as Yi Yun-jin appears, glowering at the sight of Han Chengbei holding her hand. Yi Xinguan withdraws her hand and tells Mr. Yi she has nothing to say to him before walking away. Alone, she reflects that a regret pill is a last resort and decides against using it. Instead, she checks her Weibo account where she sells the pills and finds a desperate message from the scandalous actress Ling Han, who says she doesn't want to live anymore. A quick search reveals Ling Han was recently kicked out of the entertainment industry and just posted a message saying, "Goodbye, world," leading Yi Xinguan to realize the woman is about to commit suicide. A distraught Ling Han kneels on her apartment floor, crying softly to herself as she reflects on her life. She says that the biggest mistake she ever made was signing a contract with the agency Ju Xing Jing Jai. Holding a knife to her chest, she trembles with regret. She remembers her past, recalling how she thought signing the contract would fulfill her dream of becoming an actor, only for the company to force her to drink with clients and be sexually exploited. She tried to protest, but they responded by beating her. Her reputation was destroyed by online rumors claiming she got her roles by sleeping with men and had no real ability. She despaired, feeling that the humiliation was a stain she could never wash away or fight back against. Wondering what the point was of living in such a hell, her phone suddenly buzzed with a notification. A text message appeared from an unknown contact. The sender confirmed they had regret pills and offered one to her, explaining that it would allow her to go back to the time before she signed the contract and escape her fate. The message concluded by reasoning that if she was brave enough to face death, she should be brave enough to believe them. With little hope left, Ling Han thought to herself that she had no way back anyway. Finding a sliver of resolve, she replied to the message, stating that she trusted them. Elsewhere, a young woman with short, dark hair gets ready, stating that she will meet Ling Han at 5 p.m. after she changes clothes, musing that she has to take on a different disguise for every client. She transforms, emerging from a room dressed as a handsome young man. A man named Han Chengbei marvels at her handsome appearance before recognizing her and asking why she is there. The disguised woman explains she was worried he wouldn't think clearly after his encounter with Yi Jun-jin, teasing that his failure to recognize her hurt her feelings. Han Chengbei tells her he is busy selling regret pills and has no time to play, but she insists on accompanying him. He questions if she has nothing better to do, but she claims she is helping, as his youthful appearance isn't trustworthy. She mentions the strange condition that buyers must donate half their fortune to a medical research institute, which she says makes them look like scammers. He retorts, asking if she didn't also buy a pill before. Convinced, she offers to act as his secretary, promising her prestigious face will add credibility. He agrees, but only if she promises not to speak nonsense, a condition to which she enthusiastically agrees. At a cafe, Ling Han arrives, thinking about how the drug dealer said they would be waiting by the window. She spots the disguised woman and wonders if that's her contact. She is shocked to see the media boss, Han Changbei, sitting with the person. The disguised woman begins to explain the terms of their trade, presenting a donation contract that must be signed before receiving the pill. The contract stipulates that after going back in time, Ling Han must donate half of her assets to the Bo Da Medical Research Institute. Ling Han becomes skeptical, thinking it's a scam since she has very few assets left. She tells them not to waste their energy tricking her, as she barely has enough money to live on. Han Changbei becomes angry, asking if she thinks someone of his status would cheat her for money and calling her brain broken. The disguised woman quickly silences him and reassures Ling Han that they are not cheating her. Signing the contract is the only way to change her destiny. Ling Han explains her hesitation, saying her life is already so tragic that she can't bear another scam. Thinking it over, she decides that with Han Changbei's involvement, it might be worth believing them one last time, especially since she feels she has no other way out. She picks up the pen and declares that she will sign it. After signing the contract, the disguised woman hands her a small white pill and tells her to drink it. Ling Han takes the pill and is then instructed to close her eyes, remember the moment she regrets most, and is warned that she has only 1 hour to fix it. Her consciousness fades as she feels herself sinking into dark water. She awakens to the sound of her name being called, finding herself in the office of Zhu Xing's general manager, holding the very artist contract she was about to sign in the past. She realizes she has truly returned to that moment. The managers urge her to sign, but she remembers their deception. When told to sign, she throws the pen away, stands up, and firmly declares that she will not sign the contract. She resolves that she will not go down that tragic path again, even if it means offending the powerful agency. Outside, Han Changbei suggests to the disguised woman that they leave, but she worries about what will happen if they can't return with Ling Han. As he puts his arm around her, suggesting they get a meal, a car screeches to a halt beside them. The disguised woman tenses, recognizing the vehicle. Yi Junqing steps out, looking imposing in his suit. The disguised woman panics internally, assuming he is there to tell her to break their marriage contract. Han Changbei foolishly taunts Yi Junqing about his sour expression, and in response, Yi Junqing silently punches him in the face. As the disguised woman asks Yi Junqing if he is crazy, he grabs her hand, declaring that she is his woman. He drags her into his car and drives off, leaving a furious Han Changbei shouting that he only thinks of himself. Inside the car, the disguised woman demands to be let out, threatening to call the police. Yi Junqing's subordinate Fu Zuo defends his boss, but Yi Junqing suddenly asks the disguised woman if she is a girl. Shocked at being discovered, she defiantly insists she has no interest in men, especially not him. Yi Junqing silences Fu Zuo, who tries to object to her insults. The disguised woman, flustered by the situation, thinks it's all a big misunderstanding. When Yi Junqing asks about Han Changbei, she claims he was just taking her to meet her favorite idol, Ling Han. At the mention of the name, Yi Junqing orders Fu Zuo to investigate what Ling Han has been up to lately. Fu Zuo is surprised his boss doesn't know Ling Han, explaining that she is a huge star who won an award for her debut song. The disguised woman thinks that what Fu Zuo said isn't true of the failed woman she just met, hoping it's not a coincidence. Xinguan, disguised as a boy, looks up in awe at a giant screen advertising a concert for the singer Ling Han, hailed as the music queen. He remarks to himself that she has truly changed her destiny, feeling happy that all of her possessions will now be his. Standing beside him, Yi Junqing asks if he wants to see the show. Yi Xinguan eagerly agrees, but expresses concern that the tickets might be sold out due to her immense popularity. Yi Junqing smirks condescendingly, questioning if Yi Xinguan even knows who he is, and confidently orders his assistant, Fu Zuo, to immediately procure 2 top VIP tickets, despite the concert starting in just half an hour. He warns Fu Zuo not to appear before him again if he fails in this task. Fu Zuo sweats profusely but agrees, privately hoping his master has simply taken the wrong medicine and isn't genuinely mesmerized by this little goblin. Later, Yi Junqing presents a massive bouquet of red roses, holding them out towards Yi Xinguan. Thinking Yi Junqing intends to propose to a little fresh meat he just met, Yi Xinguan panics internally at the craziness of the situation. He quickly saves face by taking the flowers, saying they would be a perfect gift for Ling Han at the concert. They arrive at the massive Dai-Du Stadium, where the crowd is roaring with excitement. Fans scream Ling Han's name and declare their love for her as she takes the stage. Ling Han begins to sing, reflecting on her journey to stardom. She recalls how after canceling a contract, she thought her career was over, only to be catapulted to fame when a singing video of her was uploaded to social media. She is grateful that the record company respected her decision not to sign a restrictive contract and that her debut song became an instant hit. She knows she couldn't have achieved this without the regret pill and hopes that a certain someone can see her now in her moment of triumph. From the audience, a tearful Xinguan watches, feeling the joy in her voice and understanding her journey. He thinks to himself that she no longer needs to be afraid of the dirty things from her past or use death to free herself. Ling Han spots him in the crowd, her eyes widening in recognition as she reaches out. She tearfully confirms that it's really him, and he gives her an encouraging look. She thanks him, promising to cherish the new life God has given her. As the concert ends, Xinguan is still wiping away tears. Junqing hands him a tissue, asking dryly if it's necessary to cry so much over an idol. Xinguan snaps back that he's deeply touched, something a person with a slow brain like Junqing would never understand. Junqing then surprises him by offering a slice of pizza. He explains that he had Fuzuo buy it since Xinguan hadn't eaten dinner yet. As Xinguan chews on the pizza, he muses that Junqing's considerate side only seems to come out for men, which must be why he's so grumpy towards his actual marriage partner. He suddenly stops eating, and Junqing offers to throw the rest away. Junqing then notices a message on the pizza box lid about the happiness of sharing food with friends. While he contemplates the meaning of happiness, Xinguan happily takes another bite. A sudden realization dawns on Xinguan, and he decides he must leave immediately before Junqing discovers he is a woman disguised as a man. He quickly thanks Junqing for the concert and turns to run away. However, Junqing grabs his arm, pulling him into a close embrace. He calls him by his full name, Xinguan, and tells him that as the person who married him, he has nowhere to go but home with him. Flustered, Xinguan realizes that Junqing has known his true identity all along. As they walk home, Junqing looks so handsome and gentle that Xinguan's heart flutters. When Junqing leans in close, Xinguan panics again, assuming his husband wants to confront him about the misunderstanding that he likes men. He hastily makes an excuse about having work to do and runs off. Junqing watches him go with a knowing smile, thinking that his shy, small fishtail can run for now, but they have a lot of time together. Later that night in the Yi family mansion, Xinguan, now in a comfortable nightgown, fumes about Junqing not telling her he knew her secret. Starving because she was too nervous to eat earlier, she decides to raid the kitchen for food. Amazed by the luxurious kitchen, she finds a package of high-grade Kobe beef and decides to cook it. Just as she finishes her steak, Junqing appears behind her in a revealing robe, asking what she is doing. She holds up the plate, but he takes a piece for himself. He chews with a pained expression, finding the steak terribly cooked, but when she asks if it's delicious, he lies to protect her feelings. He then proceeds to eat the entire steak, leaving her with nothing. He smirks, promising to compensate her by cooking her another one. He tells her to get her phone and record him as proof of their domestic life for the marriage department. As she records, Xinguan is impressed by his professional cooking skills. Junqing recalls learning to cook steak for his little fishtail in the past, a gesture she had rejected. He realizes that despite his resolve to stay away from her in this life, he can't help himself. Xinguan happily provides commentary for her video, boasting that a jinn is cooking for her and thanking her honey. After he presents the finished meal, she playfully asks him to feed her, claiming her hands are busy recording. He reluctantly agrees, but as he lifts the fork to her lips, she suddenly yells, "Stop!" She declares she has enough material and stops recording, her demeanor changing instantly. She tries to explain away her intimate behavior as just an act for the marriage department. Annoyed, Junqing's expression darkens as he realizes her affection was faked. He leans in close, asking sarcastically if her acting is so good because she's been intimate with someone before, pointedly mentioning Han Chengbei. He told her not to get too into character, as they still needed to coordinate many times to deal with the marriage department. She blushed, and he pressed closer, asking if her reaction meant she really was thinking about being with other men. She retorted, asking what would happen if she were intimate with others, reasoning that as long as no one found out during their marriage, it would be fine. He grabbed her chin, warning Xinguan that for the 1 year she is married to him, she should settle down and not think about other men, or he would accuse her of adultery and have her put in jail. She denied having anyone else in mind and angrily pushed back, questioning on what basis he could force her to do what he says when he can't even find someone he likes himself. She then grabbed his robe, turning the tables on him by declaring that if he didn't want her thinking of another man, then he should remember that during their marriage, he is her man and is not allowed to like anyone else, threatening to imprison him if he did. She let him go, thanked him for the steak, and announced she was taking it to her room to eat. Yi Jun-jin stood alone, caressing the spot on his robe where she had grabbed him, a blush creeping onto his face as he realized she had just called him her man. His expression then hardened as he remembered she believed the rumor that he liked someone else, and he angrily wondered who would dare to create such a rumor to make his little fishtail misunderstand. He immediately called his assistant, Fu Zuo, and demanded to know if anyone had been spreading rumors about him lately. He clarified it wasn't Miss Yi, ordering Fu Zuo to check for anyone else, and to compile a list of everyone who had been in recent contact with Yi Xinguan, vowing that those who dared to dwell in his woman's heart were seeking death. The next morning, Yi Xinguang arrived at the Coco TV station office, cheerfully greeting her colleagues, only to find them staring at her in silence. Her leader stormed up to her, furiously demanding to know where her interview was. Yi Xinguang panicked, realizing that with all the drama from the previous day, she had completely forgotten about it. Before she could properly respond, her rival, Lu Yingying, told her she had made a big deal, smugly explaining that social media was now full of rumors that the person Yi Jun-jin truly likes is not the mermaid girl. Yi Xinguang stared at her phone in shock, reading a viral post claiming that young Master Jin has liked someone else for a long time, with comments exploding with speculation and plans to confront her online. She was horrified, realizing people now saw her as an interloper, a third party, and a woman with many tricks. Lu Yingying continued her taunts, asking if the truth was that she couldn't get the interview and ran away crying after being scolded by Yi Jun-jin. Yi Xinguang shouted at her to stop talking nonsense, but Lu Yingying coolly replied that she knew it was true in her heart. Their leader slammed his fist on the table, yelling for them to stop. He lamented that without direct evidence of the couple cohabitating, the interview, even if released now, would just look like a lie. Other colleagues chimed in, blaming Yi Xinguang and worrying that if Yi Jun-jin got angry, the entire department would be disciplined. Overwhelmed, Yi Xinguang admitted it was her fault she forgot to record the interview and that she had to make up for the mistake. She then raised her hand, announcing that she was keeping exclusive material that was even more important than the interview, revealing she had luckily filmed something the previous night. On her phone, her colleagues watched a heartwarming video of Yi Jun-jin affectionately feeding her steak, calling her honey, and acting like a doting partner. Her leader was overjoyed, praising her for getting such a persuasive exclusive video and declaring she had done a great job. He ordered the team to edit and post it immediately to create a loving image of the couple, then dismissively told a fuming Lu Yingying to go run some errands. Lu Yingying clenched her fist, infuriated that Yi Xinguang always seemed to get lucky and vowing that she was not committed to losing to her. Later that day, as work ended, Yi Xinguang stood outside, noticing it looked like it might rain. Lu Yingying approached with a smirk, asking if she was waiting for her husband to pick her up. She began to brag about her own partner, Yin Chen, who often picked her up, and claimed he was definitely better than Yi Xinguang's husband, whom she imagined was some ugly, rude man. Yi Xinguang internally scoffed, thinking that Lu Yingying would be shocked into silence when the luxury car of her husband, Yi Jun-jin, arrived. She confidently told Lu Yingying not to worry, as her husband loved her very much and she would see for herself in a moment. However, her confidence shattered when she received a call from her driver, who informed her the car had a problem and he couldn't make it, advising her to take a taxi. She quickly told a suspicious Lu Yingying that it was just a wrong number. Just then, Yin Chen arrived with a large bouquet of red roses for Lu Yingying, and they shared a happy embrace. Yin Chen then politely asked Yi Xinguang why her husband hadn't arrived yet, making her panic as she realized she couldn't let her rivals see her get stood up. She lied that her husband was stuck in traffic and told them to go on ahead. Lu Yingying sneered, accusing her of being too afraid to let her husband be compared to Yin Chen. At that moment, a stunningly luxurious golden car pulled up with a loud vroom. A chauffeur stepped out and politely addressed Yi Xinguang as Miss Yi, asking her to please get in the car. Both Lu Yingying and Yin Chen stared in disbelief, shocked that Yi Xinguang had a super-rich husband. Deciding to seize the opportunity, Yi Xinguang waved goodbye, cheerfully saying her husband had arrived. As the chauffeur closed the door, Lu Yingying ran towards the car, shouting for her to at least let them see her husband's face. The car sped off, leaving a fuming and envious Lu Yingying behind. Inside, Yi Xinguang's heart pounded in her chest as she turned and saw the person sitting next to her. It was Yi Junjin's second brother, the famous Yi Shiting. Her idol. He smiled and asked if she was surprised he came to pick her up without notice. She stammered that she was overjoyed, and he warmly told her to just call him brother. She asked why he had come, secretly wondering if the family was annoyed by the social media drama. He explained that it was his wife's birthday, and she had been wanting to meet her for a long time, so he came to take her to the family gathering. Feeling it was very sudden, Yi Xinguang mentioned that Yi Junjin hadn't told her, suspecting he didn't want her meeting his relatives. Yi Shiting explained that Junjin was busy, so he had come in his stead, and she found she couldn't refuse an invitation from her idol. They arrived at the opulent Dai Du restaurant, where they were led to a private room. A beautiful woman, whom Yi Xinguang recognized as Yi Wu Jian, the powerful heiress of the LT jewelry brand, greeted them as Shiting's wife. Yi Wu Jian welcomed her warmly, and Yi Xinguang apologized for not bringing a gift, explaining she hadn't known it was her birthday. Yi Wu Jian graciously told her that her presence was the best gift, leaving Yi Xinguang impressed by her approachable nature. As she took her seat, her eyes met another guest across the table, a young man who stared back at her with a look of utter shock. Wondering what on earth Yi Xinguang was doing there, Yi Junjin's sister-in-law formally introduces Yi Xinguang to his younger brother, Jai Kai-shu, noting she heard they'd met before. Observing the tense atmosphere, Xinguang privately thinks that Yi Junjin must not have wanted her to come. Jai Kai-shu agrees that he and Xinguang are very close, as a small, energetic girl with pink hair named Xiao Mai, who suddenly leaps forward to greet Xinguang, expressing her admiration for her ability to conquer a tough old man. Just as Xiao Mai who gets close, a man named Mo Fei pulls her back, telling her to come back. The sister-in-law explains that Mo Fei is an adopted son of the Yi family who works with Junjin, and that the boisterous Xiao Mai who is his girlfriend, hoping they didn't scare Xinguang. Xinguang politely replies that they didn't, remarking on how talented the Yi family is. She realizes with gratitude that the sister-in-law, who was traveling abroad with her husband's parents, had taken the initiative to invite her and truly sees her as family. The sister-in-law asks someone to call Yi Junjin again, wondering aloud if he's genuinely busy or just pretending to be. Just then, Yi Junjin arrives, accompanied by a blonde woman, Xia Yan Yan. Xia Yan Yan excitedly greets her sister cousin, wishing her a happy birthday and apologizing for not announcing her arrival. The sister-in-law assures her she's happy she came, while Junjin silently observes, thinking that Xinguang, who he assumed disliked family parties, seems fine. Xinguang, however, is upset, concluding that Junjin deliberately brought Xia Yan Yan to his sister-in-law's birthday to make her uncomfortable. Later at the dinner table, Xia Yan Yan asks if she can take the only empty seat, which is next to Junjin. She smirks, thinking that the seat beside him belongs only to her. The sister-in-law interrupts the tense standoff by asking Mo Fei to have a waiter add another chair next to him for Xia Yan Yan, which he agrees to despite her hesitation. Xia Yan Yan fumes, annoyed that she still couldn't win against Xinguang. Junjin tells Xinguang that he knows what she's trying to say about his brother and sister-in-law bringing her here. The sister-in-law claps her hands and calls for the food to be served. A waiter brings Xinguang a glass of cold watermelon juice, but before she can drink it, Yi Junjin grabs it from her hand. He tells her not to drink it, ignoring her protest. His sister-in-law gently scolds him for being so domineering, asking him to give the drink back to Xinguang. Junjin leans in and quietly tells Xinguang that she's about to get her period. Xinguang is stunned, wondering how he could possibly know that, as she doesn't recall filling that information out at the marriage department. Junjin observes her confusion, thinking he needs to stay by her side to take care of her. His sister-in-law misinterprets the interaction, concluding that women just need to be pampered. Junjin then orders a glass of hot red apple milk for Xinguang, and also requests a large spread of expensive seafood like king crab, abalone, and lobster. The elaborate seafood dishes, which are things to be avoided during menstruation, are brought out. Xinguang glares at Junjin, incensed that he would order warm milk for her, but then order a feast of cold seafood for Xia Yan Yan, accusing him of being blatantly discriminatory. The grand seafood platter is placed on the table. Junjin mentally notes that seafood is the most nutritious food for a mermaid during her period, and that she will probably be very happy, suppressing a smile. The waiter presents the seafood to Xia Yan Yan, who thanks Junjin profusely, gloating internally that everyone knows she is the one he has in mind. As she reaches for the food, Junjin rotates the serving platter, moving the dish away from her and directly in front of his sister-in-law, causing Xia Yan to freeze in awkward silence. The sister-in-law pointedly offers the seafood to Xinguan first. She then gently chides Junqing for ordering a dish just for Yan, as it makes things difficult for others, before encouraging everyone to eat together. Thanking her sister-in-law, Xinguan triumphantly declares that she must eat the seafood her husband ordered for her and would never give it to Xia Yan before digging in with gusto. She eats ravenously, much to the surprise of the others. Xia Yan, trying to save face, tells Junqing it's okay and that Missy should enjoy it since she likes it so much, pretending to be gracious so he would feel for her. Junqing simply agrees with a sure. He watches Xinguan eat, privately thinking that the seafood was indeed ordered for her all along, while Xinguan misreads his expression, wondering if he's upset she ate Xia Yan's portion. After the meal, during karaoke, Xia Yan sings while remarking that a mermaid might sing well, but should also know how to share the microphone. Xiao Mai who approaches Xinguan, giving her painkillers and warning her that eating so much seafood could give her a stomach ache. She whispers that she is on Xinguang's side, and tells her not to let Xia Yan act so proudly when Xinguan is Junqing's wife. Riled up, Xiao Mai who loudly declares that if her own boyfriend dared to bring another woman to her house, she would kick his ass out. When everyone stares at her, Xinguan points out that she spoke too loudly. Undeterred, Xiao Mai who shouts that she isn't wrong, citing the law that a husband cannot have another woman during marriage, and accusing Junqing of ignoring the law by picking up Xia Yan instead of his wife, Xinguan. Xia Yan tells Xiao Mai who not to lower her and Junqing's reputation, but Xiao Mai who fires back, calling the national goddess a homewrecker for pursuing a married man. Mo Fei quickly grabs the drunk Xiao Mai who to take her away to rest, but she continues to struggle and yell, calling Junqing evil and Xia Yan a cunning green tea. In the tense aftermath, Xia Yan innocently claims she just happened to meet Junqing by chance and wasn't intentionally appearing with him. She offers to clear up any misunderstandings with the innocent Xiao Mai who then announces she has to leave for work. As she departs, Junqing's assistant explains that they did indeed meet Miss Xia in front of a theater, assuring Xinguan that the young master would not do anything illegal. Junqing then turns on Xinguan, angrily asking why she made a fuss with Xiao Mai who and disturbed his sister-in-law's birthday party, stating he can't protect her from this. Xinguan retorts, asking why he dares to blame her when he's the one who caused the suspicion by ordering seafood for Xia Yan. The sister-in-law tries to defuse the situation, saying it's normal for two girls to fight and that he scared Xinguan. Xinguan announces she's going to the toilet and walks away from the tense table. Feeling like a complete joke, she runs from the room, unable to shake the feeling that no matter how hard she tries, she can't change the fact that Junqing loves Xia Yan. She stops when she sees a grand piano on a balcony. A painful memory flashes through her mind of being told she, as trash, must not touch Yan's piano. She reflects that while she had a natural talent for music, the Xia family never nurtured it, and she only learned officially after being adopted. Deciding to play a piece to relax, she sits down at the piano. Her heart is still in turmoil, and she blames Xia Yan, but then corrects herself, thinking Junqing is the one most at fault for discriminating between them. Yet she also recalls how he sincerely cared for her in front of others. Confused by her feelings for him, her phone suddenly rings. Her boss is on the line, informing her of a car accident on Yiyuan Road and telling her to go gather information. Resigned to her bad luck, she decides it's fine to go to work since she's already disheartened by Junqing. After she leaves, a music industry senior named Lao Jiazhu enters the balcony, wondering who was playing the piano. He muses that he hasn't heard such an inspirational and moving composition in a long time and hopes to meet the mysterious creator. Elsewhere, Xinguan, now in a yellow raincoat and boots, gets a call from Fu Zuo. He asks where she is as everyone is still waiting for her. Flustered, Xinguan explains she received an urgent interview assignment and asks him to relay the message. Fu Zuo tells Junqing that she left for an urgent interview. Hearing this, Junqing grabs the phone and calls her back, demanding she return immediately and asking what she thinks others will think of her leaving without a word. Xinguan sarcastically asks if he's only now remembering his wife and reminds him he wanted her as far away as possible before hanging up. Staring out at the pouring rain, Junqing worries if something has happened to her. Outside in the storm, Xinguan holds her microphone, ready for her report. A TV news report from Coco Station covers a major traffic accident on Yiyuan Road, where heavy rain has caused severe flooding, trapping a school bus. The reporter, Xinguan, watches as rescuers evacuate the students, But then a little girl is spotted still inside the nearly submerged vehicle, crying for help. The sight triggers a traumatic memory for Xinguan of being abandoned in a stormy sea at age 6, making her feel the same terror and helplessness. Determined not to let history repeat itself, she resolves to save the child, telling her cameraman to focus elsewhere while she acts. Ignoring calls to wait for life-saving tools, she thinks about her own resilience and climbs onto the slick roof of the bus. The little girl loses her grip, but Xinguang lunges forward and catches her hand just in time, promising to pull her up. Her strength begins to fail, and she feels she won't be able to hold on. Suddenly, Junqing appears, placing his hand over hers and telling her to hold the child's hand tightly as he helps pull them both to safety. Xinguang cradles the sobbing girl, reassuring her she's safe now. To calm the child, she claims to be a Superman, but the girl says she only knows of the Super Mermaid, a popular animated character voiced by Xia Yan. Seeing it might comfort the girl, Xinguang agrees that she is indeed the Super Mermaid. The child, however, grows suspicious when she can't see a fishtail and begins crying again, accusing her of lying. Junqing smoothly intervenes, telling the child that Xinguang isn't lying. She's the most beautiful mermaid in the world but has simply hidden her tail because she's tired. Xinguang is taken aback by his gentle assistance. Junqing then lifts the child and carries her down, passing her to his subordinate Fu Zuo. After they are safe, Xinguang thinks bitterly that Junqing is always kind to everyone but her. As she prepares to climb down into the deep water, Junqing suddenly sweeps her up into his arms, admonishing her for her reckless behavior and for not waiting for him. She stares at him, stunned, wondering if his stressed expression means he's worried about her. She gently reaches out to wipe the rain from his cheek. He tells her not to do anything foolish, then pulls her into a hug, whispering that he should have been there to protect his little fishtail. Fu Zuo returns and is shocked to see them in such an intimate embrace. Later, Fu Zuo tells Xinguang that Junqing had rushed to find her the moment it started raining, even defying the Ting family to do so, making her realize he truly cares. The situation escalates when a rival TV station posts a photo of Junqing carrying her, framing the heroic rescue as a romantic affair and sparking outrage online from fans of his supposed wife, the anonymous mermaid maiden. Annoyed, Xinguang tells Junqing she will use her mermaid maiden identity to clear up the rumors, but he gently reassures her he won't let her become cannon fodder. She sneezes, and he immediately checks her for a fever before bundling her head in a towel to prevent her from catching a cold. Back at their home, Xinguang fumes over the slanderous online comments and prepares to post a clarification, but pauses when she realizes people are referring to the woman in the photo as Junqing's babe. Looking at the photo again, she feels flustered by the passionate look in his eyes. She tells him she's going to reveal on Weibo that she was the one he rescued. He teases her, asking if she plans to announce that she is the babe being graced by him. Before she can act, Coco TV releases an official report with video evidence, clarifying that Junqing was conducting a rescue of a civilian and a child, which instantly changes the public narrative to one of praise for his heroism. The matter seems resolved, so Xinguang decides not to post anything to protect her secret identity. The next morning, however, the rescued girl is interviewed and mentions being saved by a super mermaid sister. This reignites the online speculation, with a disgruntled former maid insisting the woman in Junqing's arms was the celebrity Xia Yan. The tide of public opinion turns against the mermaid maiden account, accusing her of being a third party. Xinguang is frustrated, knowing she can't prove her identity since all footage of her face was intentionally cut. As Junqing leaves for work, she tells him goodbye, thinking she must assert her position as his legal wife. His subordinates are shocked to see him smile tenderly at her. Later, at a music festival, Xinguang thanks a director for editing out her face from the rescue footage. The director, realizing she's the mermaid maiden, warns her that her recent posts have drawn the ire of Xia Yan's fans. Xinguang wonders if Junqing would ever publicly deny he was with Xia Yan, but immediately dismisses the thought as unlikely, convincing herself that he would never help her against Xia Yan, the woman he truly likes. Inside his office, Junqing looks at a social media post on his tablet from an account named Mermaid Maiden, which questions the speculation that the person he carried was Xia Yan, clarifying that he always calls her babe, and the incident was about saving a life, not adultery. He wonders if his little fishtail has discovered his mindset. His bodyguard captain, Zio-yun, quietly tells his colleague that the boss went on a date while he was away for training. Zio-yun elaborates that the boss, who rarely smiles, now has a happy expression and special notification sounds on his phone, something previously reserved only for young Master Ting. He wonders who the boss is dating, ruling out the little mermaid since young Master Jin never liked her, and also Miss Zia, as they haven't been in much contact recently. At a music festival, photographers clamor for photos of Zia Yan Yan on the red carpet. Her manager tells her not to be upstaged by Ling Han, who is attending with Elder Gu. Zia Yan Yan scoffs, confident her rival's weak voice is no comparison to hers, especially since she believes she is the pianist Elder Gu is searching for via his Weibo post. As she poses, phones in the crowd begin to ring with notifications. The screens show 2 new posts from Yi Jin, one tagging Mermaid Maiden, stating it was always her he called babe, and another instructing his legal team to sue anyone spreading rumors about her. Zia Yan Yan stares at her phone in disbelief, angrily wondering why Yi Jin would post such things. Later, reporters surround her, asking for her reaction to the posts. Before she can answer, Xinguan appears and tells her not to be arrogant, suggesting Yi Jin's actions are merely political and don't mean he truly cares for her. A man beside Xinguan smiles, telling her he's helped her get revenge and that her husband has also defended her, causing her to blush and tell him to stop teasing. As the festival begins, Zia Yan Yan whispers to Yi Xinguan that their marriage is political and she shouldn't delude herself. On stage, the host introduces the esteemed Mr. Gu, who explains he is searching for the person who played a masterpiece on the piano the previous night. Zia Yan Yan's manager seizes the opportunity, loudly announcing that Yan Yan was the one playing at that time and location. The crowd buzzes with excitement, believing their mermaid princess is the one Mr. Gu praised. Despite Zia Yan Yan's feigned reluctance, her manager urges her onto the stage to fulfill Mr. Gu's wish, and she accepts the applause. Yi Xinguan watches with amusement, thinking the acting show has begun. Zia Yan Yan plays the piano, but Yi Xinguan finds the performance stiff and emotionless. After the song, Zia Yan Yan tearfully thanks Mr. Gu for his praise and offers to name her new song Lifetime in his honor. However, Mr. Gu tells her plainly that while her song was nice, it wasn't the one he was looking for, leaving her stunned. He asks the media to help him find the truly passionate music he heard. As he turns away, Yi Xinguan quietly hums the correct tune, catching his attention instantly. The spotlight swings onto Yi Xinguan as Mr. Gu excitedly confirms that is the melody. Zia Yan Yan glares, furious that it's her again. Mr. Gu asks Yi Xinguan if she was the musician, but she denies it, claiming it was her modest friend, Yu Jai. Knowing she can also play, Mr. Gu insists she perform it for him now. Yi Xinguan sits at the piano and after explaining she was just playing from her heart, begins the song. The audience is captivated by the beautiful and emotional performance, a stark contrast to Zia Yan Yan's. As the final note fades, Zia Yan Yan collapses, and her manager screams for help, causing a media frenzy. Mr. Gu calmly tells Yi Xinguan that she is just pretending. He then asks for her name and reveals he knows she was lying because there is no one named Yu Jai. He adds that he can also tell she's in love, as her melancholic song from the previous night had transformed into one full of sweetness. Flustered, Yi Xinguan denies it, thinking him a malicious man as a vision of Yi Jin flashes in her mind. Meanwhile, Yi Jin confronts his subordinate, Fu Zuo, demanding to know why Zia Yan Yan was at the same restaurant as him. Fu Zuo confesses he thought his boss had feelings for Miss Zia and leaked his location, prompting Yi Jin to kick him out of the moving car. In the car, Yi Jin wonders why everyone assumes he likes Zia Yan Yan, and Zio Yun explains it's because of his known love for mermaids, and she is the only one. Yi Jin scoffs, thinking that the only mermaid in his heart has always been Yi Xinguan. Just then, an assistant cycles up to the car, frantically reporting that Miss Yi has been taken away by the National Treasure Committee. Yi Jin is alarmed, suspecting it's retaliation from Zia Yan Yan. An assistant reports to a man in a car that social media is buzzing with news of the Zia family's housemaid tying up Miss Zia for blackmail, resulting in her hospitalization. The man, Yi Jin, asks his assistant, Fu Zuo, if this incident is related to Xinguan, and if the National Treasure Protection Bureau is aware that she is a mermaid. He notes that the Bureau was created specifically for Zia Yan Yan and acts to protect her image at all costs. Seeing this as a waste of taxpayers' money, he instructs Fu Zuo to cancel his upcoming schedules, declaring they will go to the National Protection Bureau. At the Bureau's guard corridor, Yi Xinguan is being confronted by an officer. She states that she is just a reporter and never intended to trespass on a national treasure, explaining that the MC invited her to the stage and she did nothing wrong. The officer, adjusting his sunglasses, tells her that when such absurd things happen, she should not speak up. He warns her that in the entire country, only Miss Zia is a unique mermaid, and asks if she can shoulder the responsibility if something happens to her. He advises her to be patient and remember her duty as a citizen to protect a national treasure, as any injury to Miss Zia would be a huge loss. Furious, Xinguan retorts that if they are so afraid of her extinction, they should have her marry a human and procreate, sarcastically suggesting she could have 100 children in 10 years to increase the national treasure population. The officer tells her to be serious, explaining she was only brought here because Miss Zia was benevolent and will drop the matter if Xinguan apologizes. He threatens her with a month's imprisonment if she refuses. Defiantly, she demands to know what she is supposed to apologize for. A memory flashes through her mind of her parents telling her that her sister is sick and she must love her more. She recalls the sharp pain of a needle in her marrow and telling her mother she had a fever, only to be screamed at for causing more worry. She remembers apologizing, confused about why she was sick. Another flashback shows a young boy asking a doctor about his sister's condition after a marrow donation. The doctor explains her resistance will be weaker. The boy confronts his mother, asking why she discriminates and doesn't care about Xinguan. The mother dismisses his concern, stating that taking care of Yan Yan is tiring enough and that Xinguan is ugly. She coldly adds that they can only rely on Zia Yan Yan to rise in social class. Back in the present, Xinguan arrives at her sister's hospital room. Her mother sees her and identifies her as the one who stole the affections of the person Zia Yan Yan likes, telling her to wait for Yan Yan to wake up and apologize. Xinguan scoffs that her mother still doesn't recognize her and announces she is there to collect a debt, not to apologize, as she pushes her way into the room. Her father angrily demands to know who let her in and questions her education. She sits down calmly, replying that her education doesn't allow her to respect them. Outraged, they threaten her with jail. She coolly tells them that the people who should be afraid of prison are the two of them, hinting at the crime of murdering a national treasure. She warns them to stay away from her in the future. At that moment, Zia Yan Yan, who was pretending to be asleep, sits up and accuses her of talking nonsense, threatening to have investigators take her away. Xinguan claps her hands, encouraging her to call them, stating she wants them to hear how two parents dumped their 6-year-old treasure into the sea to struggle for her life. Zia Yan Yan shrieks that their parents only gave birth to one mermaid, herself. Xinguan calmly counters that as a child, she accidentally recorded the entire process of them throwing a mermaid into the ocean. Panicked, Yan Yan claims their little sister had a serious, incurable illness, and their parents had no choice. Their mother adds that she was heartbroken. Xinguan scoffs at the excuse, revealing she knows the truth. They sacrificed their other daughter to save Zia Yan Yan, who has suffered from chronic leukemia since childhood. She asks Yan Yan how she has lived peacefully on the death of another. Stunned, Yan Yan asks how she knows this. Xinguan replies that she saved that poor mermaid, knows her stories, and then coldly announces that the mermaid is dead. Her mother seems to faint with relief. Xinguan recalls her mother's cruel words from the past, telling her she was only saved because her bone marrow was needed for Yan Yan. As she turns to leave, Yan Yan shouts that it's all one-sided bragging and that Yi Jin loves her, claiming Xinguan will never have his heart even if she gets his body. Xinguan retorts that if that's true, then a man like that doesn't deserve her anyway. As she opens the door, she finds Yi Jin standing there. He immediately pulls her into a tight embrace, begging her to crave him. Her parents arrive and ask their son-in-law if he came to visit Yan Yan. Xinguan angrily tries to push him away, telling him not to touch her if he is there for her sister. He firmly replies that Zia Yan Yan is not his concern, and he has no reason to visit her. He then leads Xinguan out of the room, sits on a chair in the corridor, and pulls her onto his lap. Her parents are utterly confused by his actions. He tells them that while it's true he likes one of their daughters, he never specified that it was Miss Zia, leaving them speechless as he holds a surprised Xinguan. Her father demands to know what he means, reminding him of the business arrangements tied to Zia Yan Yan's mermaid image. Yi Jin asks if they truly don't know they have another daughter, referring to the mermaid they threw into the river. His mother denies having any other daughter but Zia Yan Yan. Yi Jin asks if she isn't afraid of God punishing her for such a lie, and at that exact moment, a loud thunderclap echoes outside, causing her to collapse in terror. Back in the hospital room, Yi Jin confronts Zia Yan Yan, stating that their marriage was an arrangement he never agreed to and that she is not the woman he wants, suggesting she see a psychiatrist for her delusions. Zia Yan Yan screams in rage, asking how he can say he likes her little sister and what that ugly fish has that she doesn't. Xinguan steps forward, telling Yan Yan to listen carefully, as she is about to learn who truly doesn't deserve to be compared. Later in the car, Junqing is on a long phone call regarding the World Economic Congress. He silently curses himself for publicly declaring his feelings for Xinguan, wondering if she was touched or if she just laughed at him. Meanwhile, Xinguan gets a text from Han Chengbei inviting her on a trip to her home island. She agrees, happy at the thought of seeing everyone again. Junqing glances over and reads a follow-up text from Han Chengbei mentioning her vigilance and his hope to win her heart. This infuriates Junqing, who thinks possessively that she is his woman and no one else is allowed to have her in their heart. After his call, he tells a distracted Xinguan that they are returning to Z City that night for the economic conference and that she is coming with him. She hesitates, worried she has nothing to wear and internally panicking that he would kill her if he knew about her canceled plans with Han Chengbei. He reassures her he will have clothes prepared. In the car, she asks why he brought her. He tells her that as a reporter, this is a prime opportunity, and when she says she wasn't assigned to cover the event, he chides her for not being proactive, offering to arrange exclusive interviews with top economic figures. Delighted, she agrees and immediately texts Han Chengbei to cancel, blaming sudden overtime at work. Elsewhere, Han Chengbei complains to his friend Lu about being stood up by a woman. Lu mentions that Junqing is also interested in visiting an island. Han Chengbei decides to make another appointment. When his assistant offers to find another island for him to rest on, he coldly throws a file onto the table, his expression dark as he wonders about Xinguang's true identity. A man named Han Feng studies a file, musing that the Miss Yi that young Master Han knows is the mermaid girl who touched Junqing's heart. He finds it strange that an ordinary person could have such an effect and decides he must go to her hometown to check it out. He looks over an enrollment file showing Xinguang as the chosen one, paired with top bachelors Junqing and Lin Han Feng, and wonders if her success is based on luck or ability. Convinced her identity is a mystery, he prioritizes investigating her. Meanwhile, on a private jet, Junqing suddenly clutches his chest, his fangs showing and eyes glowing as his old illness resurfaces. He orders an emergency landing, telling his assistant, Xiao Yun, that he's afraid he can't control himself with so many people on board. As he stumbles toward the restroom, he resolves that he mustn't let her see him like this. He slams the door shut and orders his guards to keep him locked inside no matter what, and above all, not to wake Xinguang. Just then, she appears, rubbing her eyes and asking what is happening. Xiao Yun tries to brush it off, claiming the young master was just drunk, but she sees through the lie and states with alarm that his old illness is back. Her knowledge shocks the guards. A narrator explains that Junqing's bodyguards are not for his protection, but to control him and protect others. Realizing this, Xinguang understands his entourage isn't for show. She demands they open the door, insisting he must be in great pain and feeling cold. A flashback shows a younger, bloodied Junqing begging Xiao Yun to tie him up so he won't become a blood-sucking monster. In the present, tormented by memories of being called a filthy monster, Junqing breaks down the door. Seeing Xinguang, he orders Xiao Yun to make her faint. She defiantly asks by what right he would do that to her. Xiao Yun holds her back, but she argues that locking him in the toilet is wrong and that he needs a pillow, recalling that last time he hugged her like one and returned to normal. When Xiao Yun asks if he bit her that night, she confirms he didn't. Overhearing them mention his desire for blood, Junqing screams for them to shut up. Xinguang looks horrified, wondering if he is a blood-sucking monster. Believing he sees hatred in her eyes, he retreats and slams the door again. He emerges moments later, shirt unbuttoned, demanding his men find something to restrain him. Chained and in despair, Junqing listens as Xiao Yun tries to reassure him that Miss Yi was just scared. He feels that the government pairing them was a torment for both of them. Suddenly, the door opens and Xinguang enters with a bowl of red liquid, happily announcing that he is saved. Enraged, he accuses her of trying to give him her blood. She denies it, insisting it's not blood and he'll be fine after drinking it. He calls her an idiot girl, asking why she would do this when she hates him, but she just pleads with him to take a sip. He screams for Xiao Yun to take her away. Unfazed, she grabs his face, frustrated that he won't listen, and feeds him the liquid from her own mouth in a forceful kiss. As he drinks, his bodyguards watch in stunned silence. She pulls away, thinking it was simple. A blushing Junqing asks if she has no shame. She retorts that as his legal wife, whatever she does with him is reasonable. He reminds her it's just a contract, and she agrees, recalling that he likes Zia Kiang. He confirms this, wondering when she will admit her true identity, before yelling at his men to get her out. As they carry her away, he is left alone, wondering why she would do that and questioning if he can believe she has changed and no longer wants to leave him. Later, Xiao Yun reports that the liquid didn't seem to be blood. Exhausted, Yi Jun-jin asks to be left alone and falls asleep. He wakes up feeling healed, surprised by the quick recovery. He watches Yi Xinguan sleeping, calling her his small fish tail. As he sits by her bed, she stirs and rubs her face against his hand in her sleep, a habit he fondly recognizes. She snuggles closer, sniffing his neck, which sends her into a dream. In the dream, she is a mermaid queen in an underwater palace who is told a human marriage subject wishes to see her. She angrily declares she has no such object and orders the cunning liar to be captured. A masked man is brought before her, and he kneels, calling her his beloved and claiming to be the object of her first kiss. As she reels in confusion, a chibai version of Yi Jun-jin appears beside her, and she denies knowing the man, but he insists they've kissed before, leading to a fierce argument. She wakes up with a start, groaning about the fierce nightmare featuring that toxic guy. The dream makes her remember her actual first kiss, which was with a boy named Kim Jun-yi who saved her when she was thrown into the sea but died in the process. She recalls him on a raft surrounded by sharks, telling her not to be afraid before urging her to swim away as lightning crashed. In the present, she washes her face, resolving to burn votive paper for Kim Jun-yi's upcoming death anniversary. She notices her rosy lips in the mirror before leaving her room to find Xiao Yun and the guards looking tense. Xiao Yun stops her from entering Yi Jun-jin's room and tells her he will take her to a hotel for her interview. Outside the hotel, she runs into two female colleagues. Xiao Yun informs her that young Master Jin has arranged for her to conduct her interview over a meal with some financial world celebrities. When one of her colleagues asks if she can join, Xiao Yun bluntly states that only Miss Yi was invited. The colleague protests, saying she's also a reporter, but Xiao Yun just smiles cheekily and asks if she doesn't know that Miss Yi is the young master's secret lover. A blonde woman confronts Yi Xinguan, grabbing her arm and announcing that her husband contacted young Master Yi, so she gets to go first. She pulls Xinguan forcefully, calling out her name and demanding to know why she is there to contend for the financial conference interview. The woman then angrily asks if Xinguan holds a grudge against her, believing she was the one who stole her boyfriend. She claims that Shi Yin-chen flirted with her first and offers to give him back to Xinguan. Xinguan calmly tells the woman she's overthinking things and that she no longer pays attention to Shi Yin-chen, wishing them happiness if they were to marry. She suggests the woman ask her own husband to arrange the interview instead. With a sly smile, Xinguan adds that she remembers the woman's husband doesn't seem to be doing well at all before walking away. The blonde woman bites her thumb in frustration, watching as Xinguan is escorted to a supercar and wondering if she truly has such a powerful husband. She fumes, thinking that if Xinguan hadn't pushed Shi Yin-chen onto her, she would be the happy one now. Xinguan is led into an opulent building where she is told that young Master Jin has not yet arrived, and she is to enter the room and take the vacant seat next to his. The room is filled with the noisy chatter of businessmen around a large dining table. Xinguan takes a calming breath before knocking on the door. She enters with a professional smile, introducing herself as Yi Xinguan, a reporter from TV station Coco, and stating that Mr. Yi had arranged a private interview. One of the men, Suo Yu, pours her a glass of wine, commenting on her beauty and telling her that if she finishes the drink, he will grant her the interview. Xinguan politely declines, explaining she is allergic to alcohol and asking if she might have green tea instead. Suo Yu's expression sours as he accuses her of disrespecting him, demanding to know if a little reporter like her still wants the interview. Xinguan silently wishes her toxic guy were there to handle the situation. Resigned, she picks up the glass and agrees to have a drink. As Suo Yu raises his glass to toast, another hand intercepts. A young Master Jin appears behind Xinguan, telling Suo Yu that if he wants to drink, he should drink with him. Another guest remarks on how protective young Master Jin is of his employees. Another man shows his phone to the table, claiming the fate between him and his sister-in-law was arranged by heaven and earth. The screen displays a message saying he has become Yi Xinguang's lucky object. Xinguan confirms this was from the matchmaking system, and the man asks why she didn't choose his lucky number, 88,888,888. She explains that she wanted to, but the system's timer ran out before she could make a choice. Young Master Jin leans over and points to a new message on the man's phone, which states that he has been eliminated by other players and has no fate with Yi Xinguan. Jin mocks the man's claims about fate, then turns to Xinguan, asking why she looks regretful when the man was clearly eliminated. She looks at him, confused by his intense expression. Suo Yu complains that Jin is making him lose face over a simple drink, but Jin coldly tells him he can leave if he's uncomfortable. The other guests whisper among themselves, shocked by his protectiveness and speculating about their relationship. Another man asks Jin to finally introduce her. Jin smirks and pulls Xinguan close, asking the man if he isn't the one who always wants to know who he likes. Xinguan is stunned, wondering why he would reveal their relationship like this. The man who claimed to have fate with her stands up, exclaiming that she's their sister-in-law, and extends his hand to shake hers. Jin swiftly blocks the handshake with his own hand. Yu then apologizes profusely for his earlier behavior and downs 3 glasses of wine as punishment, before declaring he will be the first to be interviewed by his sister-in-law. The other man argues, claiming he should be first due to his fate with her. Later, the guests all defer to Xinguan, calling her sister-in-law and hurrying through the meal so as not to waste her time. Afterwards, she finds herself exhausted, having turned from an interviewer into the subject of an interrogation by the businessmen who pepper her with personal questions. Young Master Jin steps in, silencing them and telling them that any questions they have should be directed to him. Xinguan tells his assistant, Fuzuo, that she wants to go to a souvenir shop to buy a birthday gift for Yi Jin. Fuzuo sees an opportunity to redeem himself and offers her a store consumption card, guessing she might be short on funds. She initially refuses, but he insists, promising to keep it a secret. The moment she leaves, Fuzuo calls Jin and excitedly tells him that Missy is out buying him a birthday present. Jin is surprised, wondering if she really took the initiative. Fuzuo adds that she wanted it to be a surprise, and Jin agrees to pretend he knows nothing. He reflects on how much she has changed, from forgetting his birthday in the past to now planning a surprise for him, and decides to plan an even bigger surprise for his little fishtail. Later, Xinguan reads a text from Fuzuo suggesting she give Jin the present at 6:30 a.m. to be the first. She replies, asking if she can give it at midnight, but Fuzuo informs her that Jin goes to bed by 10:30 p.m. Realizing that tomorrow is also the death anniversary of her friend, Qin Junyi, she decides to commemorate that first. Late that night, she slips outside to burn votive paper, believing Jin is asleep. He speaks to her departed friend, lamenting his sacrifice to save her from a shark attack and feeling guilty that she could have saved herself. Suddenly, Yi Jin appears behind her, having been searching for her after a maid noticed she was missing. He asks why she's not sleeping, his voice cold. He glares at the fire, furiously asking if she ran out in the middle of the night to burn morning paper for him on his birthday. She panics and denies it, insisting it's for a friend. Honored, she sarcastically retorts that his birthday is so scary she decided to curse him, asking if he's satisfied now. He looks hurt and asks why she would do that. She realizes with a pang that he completely misunderstood her intentions. She tries to pull her hand away, but he grabs it, looking betrayed and asking if she really wants him to die. He turns away, saying he was wrong to think she had changed, and tells her to go because he is tired. As he walks away, he mutters that they should probably just split up. He thinks to himself that he was delusional to ever expect a surprise from her. Alone, Xinguan tells herself it was just a misunderstanding and resolves to explain it all tomorrow. A man approaches and informs her that young Master Jin has instructed him to take her to a hotel. She tells the man that if Jin is still angry tomorrow, he should give him the gift she bought, which is on her nightstand. From a window, Jin watches the car drive her away into the night. He leans against the glass, wondering what he is supposed to do with his small fishtail. The next day, Xinguan hails a taxi to the TV station. A man in the passenger seat says it's just carpooling, and the driver assures her he is heading in that direction. However, she soon notices the taxi taking a wrong turn. When she demands to be let out, the man from the front seat grabs her, and she realizes in terror that she is being kidnapped. A man's phone is smacked out of his hand by a woman in the back of a car. The woman, Yi Xinguan, furiously declares that the scum driver dared to plot against her while choking him from behind. She boasts that she once fought sharks with her bare hands and wonders if he was even born then, demanding he stop the car. The driver, panicked, slams on the brakes. As she holds a torn piece of cloth to his throat, she threatens to strangle him if he doesn't stop, causing him to cry out that he was wrong and was just hired for the job. She demands to know who is behind this, and he explains the person who hired him is at a nearby construction site where he was supposed to take her. When she orders him to turn back immediately, he agrees, but secretly thinks the foolish girl can't escape now that they've almost arrived. The taxi pulls up to an abandoned construction site. The driver gets out and yells for his brothers, announcing that the woman is very strong and knocked him out. The leader of the thugs calls him an idiot for what he's talking about as a large group of men confronts Yi Xinguan. One of the thugs is sent flying with a powerful kick. Standing calmly before the gang, she asks if they want to fight her one by one or all at once. They all charge at her simultaneously. Meanwhile, at a lavish party, a man in a black suit, Jin, sits alone on a couch. His assistant reports that they still haven't been able to contact Xinguan. Another man approaches, asking Jin why his wife isn't here and if they've been arguing again. Jin stands up abruptly. His friends wonder who angered him, just as a woman runs in, frantically reporting that Miss Yi is about to be beaten to death. Jin looks alarmed as the woman explains that it's his wife, Xinguan, who was apparently evicted and ran to her house to make a mess. She elaborates that Miss Yi was crazy and came to vent her anger on Miss Zia after a maid said something, and now the house is on the verge of collapse. Guests at the party begin to gossip, wondering if the rumors about Jin and Zia Yan being in love are true. The man who first approached Jin urges him to go home and save Sister Zia, but Jin decides he needs to check on the situation himself. Back at the Zia family home, Jin's assistant Zio Yun confirms that he has sent people to investigate, as Jin believes something must have happened to his little fishtail for her to act this way. Xinguan stands over a beaten man with a baseball bat, declaring she will show them the real face of their mistress. She kicks open the doors as the Zia family looks on in shock. A man demands to know how she dares to cause trouble, calling her crazy and threatening to call the police for illegal entry. She laughs, saying it's perfect timing for her to tell the police how the Zia family staged her kidnapping. The man calls her a gangster woman and tells her to get out, saying they won't pursue the matter of her hitting people and ruining their things. She scoffs at the idea of making peace so simply. The blonde woman, Zia Yan, says they consider it bad luck and won't do anything, telling her to leave and that any video clips she has won't intimidate them, as she is a national treasure. Xinguan prepares to smash a vase with her bat. A voice yells for her to stop. Zia Yan's brother has arrived, and she rushes to him, complaining about how aggressive Xinguan is. He tells his sister not to be afraid as he is there, which triggers a painful memory for Xinguan of dreaming that he would save her when her parents threw her into the sea. He then turns and tells Missy to stop being aggressive. She defiantly asks what he's going to do to her. He asks for a reasonable explanation for what happened, but before he can finish his threat, Jin appears and gently puts a hand on Xinguang's head, telling her not to be afraid because he is here. She looks up at him with tears in her eyes, finding comfort in his presence. He asks her what happened and what they did to her. The mother of the family insists that the crazy woman broke into their home, but Jin ignores her and gives Xinguang a choice. Either she speaks for herself, or he will have his people force the hired thug to reveal the truth. The thug, kneeling on the floor, quickly shouts that he'll talk, denying it has anything to do with him. The blonde woman screams at him to shut up, but he confesses that someone hired them to kidnap Xinguang and force her to hand over a video, with instructions to kill her immediately after. Zia Yan's brother asks what video he's talking about and why he would come to their house if he was hired by someone else, but the thug is silenced by the family. Jin then announces that if no one in their family dares to speak, he will. He reveals that the video shows the scene from 16 years ago when her parents threw her into the sea. Zia Zhaoyi is stunned, asking what he just said. Jin scoffs at Zia Zhaoyi's innocence for believing his sister jumped into the sea to run away from home, questioning why a seriously ill 6-year-old would do such a thing. As Zia Zhaoyi questions if it's the truth, his mother insists he shouldn't believe it, claiming Xinguang is her biological child. Jin continues, stating that the girl was saved by a benefactor, and asks if Zia Zhaoyi is satisfied with this explanation. Zia Zhaoyi desperately asks where his sister is now. Jin coldly replies that she died and couldn't be saved, and that the person living now is Xinguang, who looks up with a faint smile. Zia Zhaoyi calls out to his sister, Kiang, but Jin tells Xinguang to forget it and that they should go. As she cries, realizing her brother has always been deceived, Jin gives the Zia family 3 days to deal with their internal affairs or face the consequences. Zia Zhaoyi reaches out, saying he missed his brother so much. Jin's assistant opens the car door for Xinguang and Jin grabs her hand. He lifts her into his arms as she struggles, telling him to let her go or she'll punch him. He kisses her forehead, promising she can punch him as much as she wants once they are in the car. Inside the car, she sits far from him. He pulls her closer, but she flinches and tells him not to touch her. He hugs her tightly, asking if she really wants him to leave her world, and admits he has no self-respect, begging her to come home with him. He apologizes, saying his words from the previous day were just said in anger, and reminds her that it's his birthday and everyone is waiting for them at the party. He adds that he's also waiting for her and her birthday present. She explains she was burning votive paper for a friend yesterday, not cursing him. He correctly guesses that her friend's name is his name spelled backwards. She tells him that if he doesn't believe her, he can have his assistant investigate, The friend died 10 years ago today, saving her. Jin immediately tells his assistant to investigate. The assistant quickly finds a record of a teenager named Qin Junyi who died in an accident at sea 10 years ago, with the details matching the time and place of Yi Xinguang's past assassination attempt at sea. Jin remembers her story about a boy distracting a shark to save her. Realizing he completely misunderstood her, he holds her face gently and apologizes. He then cheers her up by telling her about all the delicious food waiting for them at the villa, including cakes, seafood, grilled meat, and cold drinks. At the party, Yi Xinguang arrives in a beautiful blue dress, greeted by her friend. Her friend asks if the toxic guy's birthday is going well. Yi Xinguang happily confirms it is, mentioning all the delicious food. A woman approaches and asks who they are, looking down on them. She recognizes them as servants of the Xia family and questions why they are talking to guests that way. The woman then challenges Yi Xinguang's friend to dance, mocking her for being rude and having no temperament. The friend stammers that she's only been in school for 2 months and her legs are unstable. But Yi Xinguang steps in and invites the girl to dance with her, promising to make her stand out. The two of them take to the dance floor. They dance gracefully together, captivating the crowd and earning applause. Jin watches her, a gentle smile on his face. The guests marvel at how well they dance and how pretty the girl in the blue dress is. Jin approaches her on the dance floor, saying he didn't know she could dance and wonders how many more surprises she has for him. She replies that she knows many kinds of dances. As they dance, guests comment on how infatuated Jin looks. A crowd gathers, asking young Master Jin to introduce the girl. Yi Xinguang jokes that she hasn't eaten enough and needs to take care of her stomach first. Later, Jin walks onto the stage to a piano, announcing that he would like to introduce someone to them all. As he begins to play a beautiful and rare piece of music, Yi Xinguang wonders how he knows this song. He announces he will sing a song for them. He sings about a starry night and holding her hand through the galaxy. His assistant asks Yi Xinguang to go stand next to Jin. The lights suddenly go out and she wonders what's happening. A path of shining stars illuminates the floor in front of her, leading to the stage. The guests are amazed by the magical sight. As Jin continues to sing about wanting her love the most, he asks her to step on the shining stars and come to him. A beautiful multi-tiered cake is brought out and he asks her to cut it with him. They cut the cake together as confetti falls around them. He gives her the first piece. A guest asks for the name of the song, and Jin explains it's a popular song online that he added his own lyrics to, titling it, "You Are My Shining Star." He then reveals that the title is based on her name, and formally introduces her as Yi Xinguang, the person the government has paired him with. At the party, a woman expresses her admiration for the song Yi Jin sang, asking if she can post a video of it to Weibo. The female lead, Miss Yi, explains that her friend Xia Qiang wrote the lyrics while Yi Jin wrote the music, and she encourages the woman to post it to help promote her friend's work. Miss Yi privately smirks, recalling how Xia fan had called the song terrible and wondering what their reaction will be now that the toxic guy himself is singing it. Another friend excitedly tells Miss Yi that this is clearly a public confession from young Master Jin, implying she is his overnight star. As Miss Yi dismisses it as a coincidence, Yi Jin suddenly sweeps her up into his arms, declaring that he thinks they are pretty good together. He addresses the crowd, telling them to continue playing while he spends some time alone with the girl the country assigned to him. The guests cheer them on, telling them not to delay their time together and remarking on how mighty and domineering young Master Jin is. As Yi Jin carries a struggling Miss Yi up the stairs, she tells him to stop messing around. He carries her into his bedroom, and she warns him not to get any ideas or she will be rude to him. He leans in close, asking why she wants to be rude and reminding her of her own words about them parting ways after a year. He asks if she has ever heard the saying that if a man can be trusted, a sow can climb a tree, cornering her in a chair. She tries to calm him down, asking if he's had too much to drink and insisting she is not a casual woman. He agrees, but then states that he wants her to give herself to him as a birthday present, claiming everyone else got him one but her. Panicked, she blurts out that her present is in her bedroom and she'll go get it right now. Amused, he sits back and calls her a silly girl, revealing he was only teasing her. His expression suddenly changes to one of pain as he clutches his chest, realizing his affliction is returning. He stumbles out to a balcony, trying to get away from the crowd in the villa. Miss Yi follows him, holding out a gift box and announcing his present is here. Just then, he loses his balance and falls over the railing. She drops the gift and lunges, grabbing his shirt and screaming his name, accusing him of trying to jump just because she hadn't given him a gift yet. He pulls himself back to safety, chiding her for her overreaction and clarifying that he was just trying to leave for a moment, asking her not to tell anyone. Seeing his pained state, she asks if he is sick again. She tells him not to go, promising she has a way to suppress his illness and asking him to trust her. She returns with a glass of red liquid, assuring him it's water and not blood. She presents a medicine bead on a chain, explaining it can restrain his urge to suck blood. She asks how long he has suffered from this disease, and he admits it's been about 10 years. She is stunned, realizing the immense willpower it must have taken for him to avoid drinking blood for a decade. He notes that the drink smells like blood, but she explains it's just the fishy scent from a special seaweed the bead was raised in. She urges him to drink it while it's hot, but he petulantly demands she feed it to him or he won't drink at all. Sighing, she decides to humor him, coaxing him to drink the medicine as if he were a child. After he's finished, she gives him his present, wishes him good night, and tells him to close the door on his way out. Instead, he blocks her path, reminding her that this is his room. He pushes her onto the bed, looming over her and asking if a simple gift is all he gets for his birthday. Just as he leans closer, her phone rings, the caller ID showing it is her dad. He calmly tells her to answer it. Sitting in his lap, she nervously greets her father on the video call. Her father asks if the young man is the one the government chose for her, and her mother asks for a better look. Junqing leans into the frame as Missy confirms it's him. Her father warns his future son-in-law that his daughter can't swim and must be kept away from deep water. Junqing grimly agrees, a dark vision of her struggling flashing in his mind. Her father then adds that she is weak and fragile and must be protected. Junqing smiles and promises to definitely protect her. After he ends the call for them, she pats his shoulder, praising him for coordinating so well and saying the pill wasn't wasted on him. She again presents the gift, telling him to open it. He opens the box to find a beautiful watch, the exact one he had wanted. As she puts the watch on his wrist, he looks at her with a heated gaze. His expression changes, and he asks if the medicine has any side effects, thinking that while his bloodlust is gone, something else has taken its place. She asks what's wrong, and he questions if anyone else has taken the medicine. She admits he's the first she's given it to, but recalls an old warning that the drug suppresses bloodlust by arousing the fire of love. She muses it won't be a problem since their marriage is just on paper, which angers him, and he asks if she's trying to trap him. She asks where he feels uncomfortable, and he blushes, asking her what the fire of love means to her. She feigns ignorance and tells him he can either vomit the medicine up or jump off the balcony, as she won't stop him this time. He confesses he doesn't know what's happening, only that he wants to hear her say words of love, hug her, and never let her leave. He asks if she cast a love spell on him, and she insists she just forgot about the side effects. When she asks what to do, he says he needs to hear love words to feel better, pleading with her to call him a jinn a few times. She reluctantly calls out his name, a jinn. He tells her to put more emotion into it to quench the fire inside him. She tries again, whispering a jinn tilde. He says it's working a little and asks for more, so she leans in and whispers it in his ear. He then abruptly gets up and goes to the bathroom, telling her to rest while he's gone. From behind the closed door, he informs her that the side effects could last for 3 to 5 days and that she'll need to prepare more love words. She is horrified at the prospect. In the shower, he sneezes from the cold water, realizing it's not working and vowing she will pay for this later. The next day, he joins his friends at a table and lets out a large sneeze. His friend asks if he has a fever, but he brushes it off, privately cursing the ineffective cold showers. Another friend points out his new watch, calling it cheap and unworthy. However, a third person reveals that it was a birthday present from Miss Yi. The friend continues to mock it, questioning if it's authentic given Miss Yi's low intern salary. Junqing states coolly that she used her first month's salary to buy it, which is what matters to him. Miss Yi's friend, however, loudly reveals on the phone that the watch is real only because Fu Zuo lent Miss Yi his credit card. Junqing's face darkens as he confronts Miss Yi, asking why she didn't use her own salary as she had claimed she would for the most important person in her life. She nervously explains her pay hadn't come through yet. Hearing how low her salary is, he discreetly sends a text ordering someone to raise it. His friend then informs a shocked Missy that due to recent reforms, she will be receiving a mid-year bonus of 40 to 50,000 yuan. The friend thinks to himself that since the company belongs to Junqing, he can make up whatever he wants. Missy excitedly calculates her new wealth, exclaiming that she can now buy a shirt she wanted. As she leaves for her day off, Junqing reminds her to message him every hour, adding that she knows what to send. She walks off, thinking that the poison of love is incredibly powerful, and that he will surely regret all this when the effects finally wear off. Junqing sits in a meeting, clearly distracted as his phone buzzes with messages from Xinguan, who playfully asks if he is okay and needs a hug. She apologizes, saying she didn't know the side effects were so big, but he just tells her to say something more audible. She sends a series of flirtatious texts, asking if he'd like to suffer a little more injustice by plugging a heart made of soil into his palm, to which he replies with a firm no. Their banter continues with her joking that she can bend over and will miss him at 1:30, making him smile faintly as he sends a nice sticker. Xinguan reflects on how she could never say such words normally, and how the love poison's side effects are scary, yet they've made Jin appear cuter than usual. Her teasing culminates in a cat meme suggesting he should be missing her, a thought so potent it gives her a nosebleed as she realizes she can't sink too deep into this love. While shopping, Xinguan finds a black shirt she thinks would suit Jin perfectly, but her moment is interrupted by the arrival of Xia Yan and her brother. Xia Yan tells her not to be angry, mentioning she misses her own sister too, which Xinguan finds irritating. Xia Yan then belittles the clothes Xinguan is looking at, saying they're cheap and that Jin only wears branded, tailored items. Xinguan retorts with a smile, telling her that Jin said it's okay if she can't reach his high status, because he can bend down for her, leaving Xia Yan fuming. Later, Xia Yan's brother invites Xinguan to dinner as an apology for the previous day's events, and she reluctantly agrees, annoyed that his sister is also present. At dinner, her host asks about her deceased sister, Qiang. Xinguan fabricates a story about Qiang being a frail but talented composer, claiming she hid her musical talent so as not to offend her own sister, Xia Yan, who had strong self-esteem. Xia Yan furiously denies this, stating Qiang couldn't even play the piano. To escalate the situation, Xinguan shows them a viral post on her phone about a love song, with lyrics written by Jin himself for music composed by Qiang. She internally gloats that she can use Jin's public affection for the deceased Qiang as a way to slap Xia Yan in the face. Xia Yan is enraged that Jin would humiliate her by writing lyrics for her sister's song. Her brother tries to smooth things over, but Xinguan coolly states she is happy for her best friend, Qiang. The brother then offers her compensation for past troubles, and she replies that all she wants is a protective brother. Just then, her phone rings with a call from Jin. He asks why she isn't home, and when she mentions someone disparaged her gift for him, he furiously declares anything from her is priceless and tells her to come home immediately because he misses her so much he's going crazy. Smugly saving face, she excuses herself from dinner, leaving a defeated Xia Yan behind. Xia Yan then desperately asks her brother if her privilege of picking a husband could force an end to Jin's relationship with Xinguan, but he sternly forbids it. The scene shifts to Jin, sick in bed with a fever, who receives terrible news from an assistant. A massive gas station explosion has occurred where his elder brother, Grandpa Ting, was last seen. As he processes the horrific news, his phone rings with a call from Xinguan, but before he can answer, his assistant gets a call and informs him with a panicked expression that Miss Yi has rushed into the flames. The caller explains that Xinguan was reporting on the scene when she heard Jin's family was involved, and she ran directly into the fire. In a panic, Jin rips the Roman 4 from his arm and demands a helicopter. At the disaster site, amidst the roaring flames, Jin learns his assistant couldn't stop her. Believing both the woman he loves and his brother are in danger, he confronts a firefighter to demand his equipment. As another explosion rocks the area, a firefighter points into the inferno, and Jin watches in disbelief as Xinguan emerges from the fire, carrying his unconscious elder brother on her back. As paramedics attend to his brother, Xinguan explains she found him in the gas station's bathroom, which likely shielded him from the blast. Jin grabs her, furiously demanding to know who let her rush in. She yells back that his brother would have died without her, but he cuts her off by pulling her into a desperate hug, asking if she ever considered the consequences or how worried he was about her. Stunned by his raw emotion, she softens, reassuring him that she only went in because she was sure she could handle it. He carries her from the scene, and she reflects that despite his harsh words, he is always there when she needs him most. At the hospital, Jin insists on a full checkup for her, but she resists, afraid her mermaid physiology will be discovered. He dismisses her protests and forces her into an examination room. A short while later, his assistant reports that the doctor found her indicators to be abnormal. Jin, aware of her secret, calmly instructs his assistant to delete all her test data, explaining that he will consult with more authoritative experts, knowing her mermaid indicators are different but confirming she is, fortunately, safe and sound. A woman warmly greets Xinguan, identifying herself as her sister-in-law and expressing immense gratitude for her saving Xinguan by rushing into the flames. She emphatically declares that she will only ever recognize Xinguan as her sister-in-law and will never agree to anyone else. Touched, Xinguan smiles and thanks her for the recognition. Later, Jin notices Xinguan looks tired, and despite her protests that she is fine, his sister urges him to take his wife home to rest. Without another word, he lifts her into his arms, ignoring her protests that she can walk and that people are watching. He simply states she is too tired to move. Resigned, Xinguan mutters that this must be the influence of the love poison she gave him, then cheekily tells him to bother hugging her all the way home, to which he agrees is only natural. The incident has become a major news story online, with headlines praising a mysterious fire goddess for saving the presidential candidate. A stylized drawing of the heroic act circulates, and netizens begin shipping the fire goddess with Yi Xinguan as a couple. Reading these comments from his chair with an Roman 4 drip, Jin scoffs that the netizens are crazy, as it was clearly Little Fishtail's love for him, not some random heroine. He then instructs Xinguan to post a selfie on her mermaid girl account to reveal that she was the one who saved his brother. She worries this will bring too much attention, but he is insistent. She thinks to herself that if she posts a selfie, her identity as a mermaid will be exposed, wondering if the love poison side effects are making him act this way. He overhears and asks who said anything about love poison. She challenges him, asking why he would then request love texts from her. He coolly reveals that the side effect he was told about was a strong aphrodisiac, which he cured with 30 cold showers. He points to his Roman 4 bag, showing her it's simply a fever-reducing medicine, proving he was never poisoned and urging her again to post the photo. Stunned, Xinguan realizes his fever was just a fever, and she accuses him of tricking her. He turns it back on her, questioning who was really playing whom when she gave a sick man what she thought was an aphrodisiac. Flustered, she stammers that she didn't know the side effects, remembering the embarrassing urge sex messages she sent him. Their argument is interrupted when a man brings Xinguan a bag she left at the fire scene. She explains it's a birthday present for Jin, a shirt bought with her first salary. As she shyly presents it, he pulls the Roman 4 needle from his own arm and begins to undress to try it on. Ignoring her alarm, he asks her to help fasten the buttons. He remarks on the perfect fit, complimenting her grasp of his measurements, which makes her blush. She tries to flee upstairs to rest, but he stops her to thank her for saving his brother's life before reminding her not to forget to post on Weibo. He then posts a picture of himself in the new shirt, captioning it with a thank you to Little Fishtail for the birthday present. Seeing his post and his affectionate emoji responses, Xinguan throws herself on her bed in utter confusion, wondering why he's acting this way if he wasn't poisoned. The next morning at work, her colleagues mob her, praising her as a hero for saving the presidential candidate. One shows her an online profile that's been created about her, making Xinguan anxious that her secret identity is close to being exposed. The excitement is cut short when someone shouts that Xia Yan has just announced on Weibo that she intends to get married. Her colleagues explain that Xia Yan possesses a special, state-granted privilege to choose any unmarried man as her husband, and if he refuses, he and his entire family will be barred from politics for life. A wave of dread washes over Xinguan as she realizes the horrifying implications of this perverted privilege. She fears Xia Yan will choose Jin, and he will be forced to marry her to protect his brother's presidential campaign, just as he was once forced to marry her. At the hospital, Xinguan visits Yi Xinguan, who thanks his sister-in-law for her bravery. Also present is Xia Yan and Xinguan's old friend, Yan Bei. Xia Yan informs Yan Bei that she has made up her mind and will submit her marriage application on her 25th birthday. She seems utterly confident that her chosen partner will not refuse, despite any initial reluctance. Hearing this, Xinguan is certain that Jin is her target. Back at home, she confronts a calm Jin, angered by his detached attitude towards state-arranged marriages. With tears in her eyes, she asks if other people's happiness can be ignored for the sake of his brother's career, and if he would accept any arrangement to help him. Overwhelmed with emotion, her power surges uncontrollably, forming a blade of light in her hand. Jin immediately grabs her wrist, asking who offended her so he can take care of them. She cries out that it's him, accusing him of being a man who would disregard personal happiness for his goals. She asks if he would obey the state if Xia Yan chooses him. He softens his gaze and tells her not to be angry, inviting her to punish him instead. She dissolves the light blade, sobbing that she doesn't want to hit him. He then thoughtfully suggests that perhaps the props for punishment are wrong, and offers to provide a keyboard or a durian for her to use on him instead. Jin holds Xinguan close, telling her he's not kidding and to get out of the way. He then apologizes for hurting her, acknowledging she must have felt he would sacrifice her happiness for political ends. He lifts her chin, questioning why her eyes are closed and teasing that she must be afraid he'll see her true feelings. He threatens to kiss her if she doesn't open them, playfully suggesting she might be looking forward to it. Flustered, she opens her eyes and denies it, but he points out her racing heartbeat and asks if she has taken a fancy to him. She insists she hasn't, questioning how she could fall for a ruthless man who would do anything for politics. He counters, asking why she sticks by him and cares for him during his relapses if she dislikes him so much. He leans closer, asking if it's because she has a crush on him and it hurts to see him suffer. He questions her obvious excitement, asking if she wants to turn their one-year contract into a lifetime commitment. She places a finger on his lips to silence him. He tells her he doesn't want to hear lies, only what's in her heart, claiming he can already hear that she never wanted their relationship to be about politics. He whispers that he heard she wants a real relationship with him and kisses her deeply. After a passionate kiss, she shoves him away, shouting about who would want to fall in love with a shameless man like him before running off in embarrassment. Later in her room, Xinguan screams into her pillow, replaying the kiss and his words in her mind. She wonders if she is truly falling for him and, needing a distraction, decides to go comfort her friend Tang Zhu. She finds Tang Zhu distraught on a park bench, shouting that she will never marry. Another friend tries to console Tang Zhu, who is furious about being matched with a deadly enemy who wants to marry her while she is poor and stupid. A man with a fan tells Tang Zhu that it's normal for a girl to be shaken by a man, which shocks Xinguan, who realizes Tang Zhu is a woman. The group explains that the system rejected Tang Zhu's attempt to avoid being matched because her 20-year payment violated the 10-year limit. Xinguan is stunned, asking why she was the last to know her friend was a girl, only to be told she never asked. Tang Zhu asks to be left alone, and the man with the fan explains they all sometimes forget she's a girl. Back in her room, Xinguan receives a text from Jin telling her to listen to her heart and post a selfie on Weibo if she wants to fall in love with him, adding that he's waiting for her answer. She calls him a stinky man, wondering why he suddenly changed. Needing another distraction, she makes a phone call, asking her contact if anyone wants to buy regret medicine. Her contact tells her about Xia Yikeo, CEO of the Mermaid Group, who wants to buy the medicine to go back in time and save his younger sister who died early. Xinguan realizes this means he wants to save her, but she refuses the request, stating he doesn't meet her criteria and that she doesn't want her life to change. As she leaves work later, she resolves to post the selfie to spite her rival, Xia Yan. Before she can reach her car, she is stopped by a man who introduces himself as Qin Yao, the president's adjutant, and says the president wants to see her. Inside a car, Qin Yao confiscates her phone and places her in handcuffs, telling her to reflect on what she's done. Upon arrival, Xia Yan sees her and asks Qin Yao if Xinguan committed a crime, to which he replies yes. In a waiting room, Qin Yao accuses her of stealing information to register a Weibo account and using it for fraud. He shows her the registration details for the Grandpa Monopoly Regret Medicine account, which is under the name Zhuo Yuziu. Xinguan pales, realizing the president must have found out about her selling the medicine. Qin Yao scoffs when she calls Mr. Zhuo her grandpa, revealing he is a very important person. He accuses her of lying to the president by selling him the regret medicine. When she denies it, he clarifies that she not only deceived the president but did so by stealing the identity of the president's own grandfather. The truth hits her with crushing force. Her god-grandfather, Zhuo, is the president's grandfather. As she processes the shock, the president himself, Yan Bei, enters the room. Xia Yan immediately points to Xinguan, telling Yan Bei that she was pretending Elder Zhuo was her godfather. Xinguan demands her phone back, insisting she can prove her relationship by calling him. Yan Bei coolly tells them to let her call. After a few failed attempts, the call connects to a man named Uncle Lai, who passes the phone to Grandpa Zhuo. Xinguan bursts into tears, telling her grandpa that she's been handcuffed for pretending to be his god-granddaughter. She shows him the cuffs on the video call. Enraged, Grandpa Zhuo drops his fishing rod and demands to know who dared to do this to her. She points the camera at Yan Bei, and Grandpa Zhuo roars his grandson's name. He furiously demands to know why Yan Bei handcuffed his granddaughter, revealing that he himself had the Weibo account registered for her. Yan Bei quickly backpedals, blaming his aggressive subordinates and promising to self-criticize to appease his grandfather's anger. A man in a suit speaks anxiously on the phone to Mr. Zhuo, promising to immediately uncuff the lady and calm down. From the phone, an elderly voice instructs him that the person he should apologize to is not him. The man quickly turns to the seated Yi Xinguan, apologizing for the misunderstanding and asking her to forgive his earlier words as he removes the handcuffs. On the video call, the old man, identified as her grandfather, sternly warns the man in the suit never to bully his granddaughter again, or he would no longer be recognized as his grandson. The grandfather's tone softens as he speaks to Xinguang, telling her he has taught the man a lesson and asking if her wrist hurts. Feigning tears, Xinguang replies that it doesn't hurt and playfully asks her grandpa how many fish he's caught, saying she wants to eat the fish he cooks himself. As she chats happily with her grandfather, the man who cuffed her and another man, the president Yan Bei, watch with annoyed chibai expressions. One of Yan Bei's aides quietly asks if the old man is truly his grandfather, but Yan Bei silences him, complaining that such talk makes it sound like he's the grandson. After Xinguang says her goodbyes, her grandfather delivers a final command to Yan Bei, ordering him to take good care of his granddaughter and promising to personally settle accounts with anyone who bullies her. Yan Bei dutifully affirms that he understands. After the call ends, Xinguang coolly asks the man who arrested her if he believes her now. He bows his head in shame, admitting it was his fault and that his eyes were blind. She smirks and tells him to kneel down. She then dismisses him, saying she has important matters to discuss with his president. Now alone with Yan Bei, he asks her if regret medicine truly exists. She cheekily demands he pour her a cup of tea to moisten her dry throat before she'll talk. After he obliges, she confirms that regret medicine is real and can create a turning point for things one regrets, noting that meeting her is his turning point. She asks him to state his wish, to tell her what he wants to save. Yan Bei grows somber and recounts the tragic events of 3 years prior, when his wife, Ting Nan, was kidnapped by extremists and held in a cold water prison. He explains with deep pain that by the time he rescued her, she had suffered a miscarriage, and this is why they have never been able to have children. He confides that Ting Nan still cries in her sleep for their lost baby, and he blames himself for failing to protect them. His greatest wish, he says, is to go back to that day and prevent his wife's suffering, even if it meant they would divorce. Seizing the opportunity, Xinguang tells him to give her a privilege, and in return, she will give him the medicine to save his marriage and child. Her inner monologue reveals her true goal, a privilege strong enough to suppress a rival named Xia Yan Yan. Yan Bei asks what kind of privilege she wants, and she demands one for her man that no one can take away, a power that would void any other woman's privilege if they tried to get his attention. Yan Bei immediately realizes she's talking about Xia Yan Yan trying to snatch Yi Junqing. However, he refuses, explaining that Xia Yan Yan's privileges are granted by the state, and he cannot intervene even as president. He advises her to simply marry her man to protect her happiness, but she scoffs, retorting that if she could get married, she wouldn't need his help. Lamenting that Yi Junqing doesn't want to marry her, she thinks bitterly of their 1-year trial marriage certificate, which offers no legal protection. She pressures him again, calling herself the hope for his unborn child, but he holds firm, clenching his fist and stating he cannot use his presidential power for personal gain. It is a matter of principle. Just as she calls him a good and selfless president, his wife Ting Nan appears. Ting Nan confronts Xinguang directly, bypassing her husband, and says that she will do anything to save her child, even give up her own life. She begs Xinguang to sell her the medicine. As Yan Bei tries to speak, Ting Nan grabs him, furiously accusing him of always putting the country's interests above their family. Sensing a new opportunity, Xinguang changes her terms, asking only to be recognized as Ting Nan's godsister, who must be protected like a real sister in the future. Ting Nan instantly agrees to the deal. Xinguang hands over a box containing a glowing, pearl-like orb which she calls the regret medicine. Following Ting Nan's instructions, Yan Bei dissolves the pearl in warm water and drinks it. Reality shifts, and suddenly his happy, healthy daughter is in his arms, calling out for her mama. Ting Nan rushes forward, embracing the child she thought was lost forever, tears streaming down her face as her daughter asks why she is crying. Sometime later, at a grand state banquet, an aide informs Xinguang that the president has arranged a seat for her, and her memory updates to reflect this new reality. As she sips a drink, she watches the happy presidential family and wonders why. If the regret medicine worked for them, she still couldn't use it to save the person she regrets losing, Qin Junyi, whose broken image flashes in her mind. She glances at a message on her phone from an unknown sender who calls her as stubborn as a cow, before tossing the device aside in frustration. The two women leave Yan Bei to his journey into the past. In the corridor, Ting Nan stops, telling Xinguang that she thinks she heard a baby crying. A faint voice echoes, calling Mama, Mama. The two women share a look of stunned disbelief and dawning joy.